trade deadline show is Thursday, and it's going to be wild. Why? Because barely anyone has moved yet.
Doing anything.
No one's doing anything. I tried to get some context on this. What I was told is that the big aims have been going on. Team control for multiple years. Biggest names we're talking about on the market that might not actually move. Think Steven Kwan, Yon Duran, Sandy Alcantara, Mitch Keller. Right? These are all players that do not have to move, and that would all be very impactful for a playoff team. Mm-hmm. Agree?
Yeah.
But the asking price is high, and you're going to go for your A-listers until you eventually go to the B-list. Now, the B-list isn't necessarily B-list impact. It's just that they're rentals and you know they're moving.
Yeah.
So unless you get a call from John Mozeliak of the Cardinals saying, hey, Helsley's moving in the next hour, final offers now, and that hasn't happened yet, then you're still working on Duran. Unless you get a call, final offers for Charlie Morton or some other pending free agent starter, then you're working on Mitch Keller. So at some point, that's going to end. And the dam's going to break. And the rental's going to go. And it's going to move. Yeah. But what I'm learning is that a team like Cleveland, a team like Pittsburgh is holding tight. Some report out there, Kratz, on Pittsburgh said that they were looking for a top 5 prospect for David Bednar. Top 5 prospect. Exactly. I wanted to make you start this.
I think he's got like 20. I think he's got like 21 consecutive scoreless outings, 19 consecutive. Like, you're getting a hot David Bednar right now. But a top 5 prospect? Maybe like a top 5, maybe like number 5 in like the worst system in Major League Baseball.
Exactly. Not every system is treated equally. For example, the Houston Astros, according to most publications, are bottom 5 in terms of their prospect capital. If you take a top 5 from them versus a top 5 from the Mariners, it's very different. Mariners' 10th best prospect might be top 3 on half the orgs. Mm-hmm. So we're generalizing here, but the point is that the asking prices are sky high. Also, most front offices are pretty soft compared to the past. They're not as aggressive. And if they are aggressive, they wait until the very last moment.
Well, they're scared because they don't want to be the one that gave up the next great player.
Pete Crow Armstrong. That's the name that gets brought up right now.
And Tatis is the other one.
Sure.
But Tatis, when he was traded, trust me, I talked to a lot of people about this one. And they said, well, Tatis was like this skinny kid that we didn't think had any power. And he grew and got stronger. So, I mean, listen, Pete Crow Armstrong. Yeah. But if you would have had the same conversation last year about Pete Crow Armstrong, people wouldn't have cared as much, right? Because he's turned into something that if you watched him play last year, he wasn't what he is now.
No, you were like, hey, this is a
nice player, but now he's turned into a star.
Superstar. Yep.
So people, that's why they're these GMs are so hesitant.
They're so scared because they don't want to be that guy that gave up Pete Crow Armstrong. My thing is, You don't want to be that guy, Kratz, that gave up Gleyber Torres for Aroldis Chapman and changed Chicago baseball history forever, Northside?
I'll do it every time. Name me a player that I would give up that's just played in the big leagues. Ken Griffey Jr. If it wins me a World Series, I'm giving Ken Griffey Jr. up if he's 3 years away from the big leagues. I'm giving up, like, I know not, that might not be an applicable thing, but if your team is built today to win a World Series, which every player on the field wants to do, there is not one prospect in your system that is worth the better shot of winning it. You can't guarantee it. I get that. But if you feel like there's a player out there that you could go get that can up your chances to win the World Series, you do it. And you will sleep better at night, whether you win or you don't win, because you gave it everything you had.
Here's the problem. Some people will clip what Kratz just said and be like, that's stupid. I'm not giving up my top prospect for so-and-so. There's a very, very large gap between giving up stupid amount of prospects for a player and what we see from most teams in the game today. Do you agree? There's like this middle ground that we're missing. nobody's saying, because I think this is what a GM will say, like, really? You think I'm going to give up prospect A, B, and C in my system for that? And we're like, no. But what about 6 through 10? Why are you hugging them so damn tight? You're worried about all of them? That's the part where I think there's a large gap right now.
Agreed. But my question is, how many of those prospects that you won't give up turn into star players?
Almost zero.
I mean, there's very few Bobby Witts. There's very few Gunnar Hendersons. There's very few guys you say, I will not trade them no matter what. Right? Because most of the time, those guys get pushed through the minor leagues so fast, they're already almost in the big leagues. Right? So you're not sitting there going, oh, man, I don't want to give up. What was it, Owen Casey, the guy that we had on the spring training for the Cubs?
Owen Casey, yeah.
Owen Casey. Oh, I don't want to give up Owen Casey for whoever. And then Owen Casey comes up, and I mean, Matt Shaw was supposed to be the second coming. They were talking about him being this great player. He struggled, right? Now he might turn into it, but the Mets gave up Pete Crow Armstrong for Javi Baez because they thought they had a legitimate chance to make a deep run in the postseason. It didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but Pete Crow Armstrong at the time was like a 19-year-old high school kid. They didn't really know much about him.
Who didn't have pop?
That's what I'm saying.
The pop came
this
later.
Year.
Yeah.
Literally this year.
Jed Hoyer is on the record saying two things. Number one, they asked for a ton of other prospects before they got to PCA. Ronnie Mauricio, Matt Allen, who's been a failed prospect pitcher in the Mets system. That's number one. So it's not like they were targeting him. They got lucky. And number two, up until about a year ago, the Cubs front office was like, hey, we'd love for you to play a little more small ball in your game. That's a real thing. And PCA is like, nah, I rake. I hit nukes. And look at him now.
Yeah.
Because he's become a man now. Like, not everybody is a man at 17 years old and can hit dingers. Like, he's become the player that the Cubs helped develop him. Who knows if he would have been developed that way in any other organization. So there's credit to the team that gets the guy. But I think about 2011. We didn't end up winning the World Series. We should have with the Phillies and picked up Hunter Pence. And I was looking it up to see who we picked up for him. Jared Cozart, Jonathan Singleton, Josh Zeid. You can do that with so many trades. In my opinion, like the Phillies at the time, Ruben Amaro at the time made the move to go get the best available bat that filled a hole and ended up winning 2 World Series. He just won them at a different team. Like, you had a chance to upgrade your team. They did it. And the guys that they got rid of, I think there was one more player that was named later, but like the guys they got rid of, I think they all made the big leagues, but they were not big impact players the way that Hunter Pence was for that 2011 team.
Garrett Cole trade. Joe Musgrove, who didn't shine until he went to the Padres. Michael Feliz, Colin Moran, who I think was the biggest name at the time in that deal, former first-round pick, and outfielder Jason Martin. How'd that go for the Yankees?
Joe Musgrove was the biggest. He was a bullpen guy, and he went to the Pirates and became a starter. Like, he was the biggest successful name at the time.
Okay,
I love
Joe Musgrove
but he
for
hasn't
Garrett Cole.
changed the Padres franchise. He's not a franchise like Garrett Cole is. Garrett Cole literally has changed the Yankees.
Astros.
How about Juan Soto?
Sorry.
Really fresh. Juan Soto, which is Juan Soto, top 5 player in the sport, even at the time, multiple years of control. That's looked at as an absolute prize deal for the Nationals. Where are the Padres now? Where are the Nationals now? Again, we're not saying, oh, just be reckless.
Well,
Trade
McKenzie
guys
Gore,
away.
C.J. Abrams, James Wood, those were the big 3.
I'm saying it was a huge haul, but the Nats
that's the
still
problem
aren't
with the
good.
Nationals. That's all they have.
That's all they have.
That's the 3 players they have that are.
I'm saying be reckless.
The Padres are still fire. And they ended up flipping him and getting other guys back.
Yeah.
So, yes, I agree with you. Be controlled reckless, right? Okay. I'm just throwing that out there. I'd like to see some aggressiveness. We'll see what
Someone
Jim
brought
Bowden
it. Look
has
at the
for us.
Dodgers. They're still probably getting O'Neill Cruz and Watson.
Yeah, they traded away O'Neill Cruz. They traded away Yordan Alvarez. They won a World Series last year, and they've been good every year.
They haven't missed, though. They haven't missed those guys. O'Neill Cruz is a nice player, but he's not – I mean, he didn't fit on the Dodgers.
They have Mookie Betts.
They have Andy Pages.
Yeah.
They have
They're fine.
Oscar, right? And then the other one, the Yordan Alvarez, like, yeah, he would have been nice, but what did they get for Yordan Alvarez?
Josh Fields. They missed. But you got to make some deals.
But at the time, they didn't care because they were trying to get to the World Series and win it, so they didn't care. That's what you have to understand. That's why, listen, I mean, and Jordan has been great when he's healthy, but he hasn't been healthy for like 2 years now.
Yeah, he's a star when he's
That's what
healthy.
I'm saying.
He's a star.
But they have a DH. They're in good shape there.
Yeah, they have Ohtani.
Yeah, they're fine.
It worked out fine for him.
We just want to see more aggressiveness.
I don't know.
So we'll see what happens. Let's see what Jim Bowden has for us. We'll get some fresh reports on league intel. Kratz, if I'm new to card collecting and I'm looking for the safest, most trusted way in the game to acquire cards or to buy a card, but not go through a ton of work where I'm going to the shows, I'm going online doing auctions. I want it all in one place. I'm going to
Arena Club. It's all in one place. You know you're getting a good price, whether you're buying it or you're selling cards. If you're new to it, you don't want all the other crappy cards. You can get the ones that you want. You can start your collection. And if you get them on Arena Club, your collection will look a boss.
That's right. And may I mention, they also have Pokemon cards in those slab packs that we talk about every week. You can rip a pack for as low as $25 and hit on a card that's worth tens of thousands of dollars because every pack has grails that are at least 20x the price of the pack. So get involved at arenaclub.com/foul. Use the code FOUL to get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase. The freshest trade is Austin Slater, who does thrive against left-handed pitching, moving from the White Sox to the Yankees. You presume that the Yankees now picked up Amed Rosario to fill in on days where they're facing tough lefties and they sit Ryan McMahon. Same story here with Slater taking over in left field for Jason Dominguez against left-handed pitching.
Also, does this signal that maybe Will Carroll was right about Judge being out a little bit longer than we thought? Because he could also fill in and let Stanton DH. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's not a bad thought.
Spot on, AJ. Spot on. And you have to build your bench differently. If G is going to be in right field, you might only get 2 at-bats out of him. You might only get even 3 at-bats. And you sit there and you go, we got to put someone in there. Maybe we don't want this guy hitting yet. Now we have Dominguez, who struggles right-handed, but he does well left-handed. Aaron Boone's going to earn his salary these last 2 months if they have to build the roster like this.
Well, platoon action going on with the Yanks.
We'll see. It's an interesting trade, though. And, I mean, the White Sox got their 18th prospect, a 22-year-old kid in A-ball.
You're just looking to stack up as many lottery tickets as possible if you're the White Sox.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
They sat Hauser today, who was supposed to start because they're going to trade him. Front Office Unfiltered. I love that music. That means it's time to talk to Jim Bowden, our resident GM. JB, you look fresh, well rested. That's good, but good luck the next 24 hours because we haven't had a ton of big moves yet. I want to start with the starting pitching market. Do you think that any of the big, longer-term names will move? I saw you tweet yesterday about Sandy Alcantara, Mitch Keller, any of those types of names. I know we've asked you about Mackenzie Gore. Where are you at with that market?
Yeah, so look, everything changes, right? We get so many twists and turns at this trade deadline. It's kind of been fascinating for me. I've really enjoyed the ride. Last weekend I was being told that Alcantara's probably not going to be moved because no one's valuing him even close to what he was in 23 when he won NL Cy Young Award. Well, everything has changed. I mean, somebody stepped up yesterday and made an offer that has motivated the Miami Marlins. And there may be two teams. I know there's one. There may be two. And now, in all likelihood, he is going to get moved tomorrow. So it's going to be fascinating to see who's going to pay. I had heard with Joe Ryan first they were listening, and then it was unlikely they were going to trade him. Yesterday I heard the same thing. They're listening on Ryan, and he could absolutely be moved. Mackenzie Gore, I'm not sure. It's complicated with the interim GM, Mike DiBartolo. But, one president of one of the National League teams that has won world championships in the last 5 years told me it's just complete chaos right now. I think this is really fun, right? Because, if you're a seller, you're going to grind till tomorrow, right? You're going to make them sweat it out. If you're holding one of the top elite relievers or top elite starters, there's no need to make the deal today. I'm going to wait and make you sweat it out. And then if you're a buyer, you're going to sit there and you're going to make a deal as soon as you get a deal you're comfortable with. You're not going to wait for tomorrow's chaos. But it's really fun because we have so many teams looking for the same thing, and there's only so many guys to go around. So I think it's going to be fascinating. I got to be honest.
All right. Will you tell us what team? And is the same teams in on Alcantara and some of the other guys? Or is it – can you tell us what – if you can't, then I get it because you don't want to reveal sources.
I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing –
Dang it, Jim!
The thing that I do – all my sources are GMs or presidents, and the relationship's everything. And if you lose the relationship, then you're done in this business, right? That's my niche and what I bring to the table. So, yeah, I'm never going to give them up. But I know one thing, none of them lie to me. And they tell me the truth. And if they tell me I can't say something, I don't. And when I can, I do.
Let's say Alcantara does go. Does that make a team like the Nats, who you talked about DiBartolo. DiBartolo was there. And he was a big part in, from what I heard from people there, he was a big part in the Juan Soto trade, in the return that they got. So he was not like just watching Rizzo. But if Alcantara goes, does that say, whoa, now we know the bar, and we can then level that bar off with Mackenzie Gore? Or is it like, no, we know our value, and it doesn't really matter what happens with Sandy Alcantara?
No, that's a great question, Erik, because the truth is when you look at teams, only so many teams have enough in their farm system to make those really big trades, to get those impact guys. Joe Ryan or Mackenzie Gore or Sandy Alcantara, and we got to put those three kind of in the same bucket, right? Because they're all controllable. It's not just this year. If you get them, you don't just have an ace for this year, but you have an ace next year and the year after. So if you're sitting there and you have one of the three and you want to move them, I want to be the team that gets the return. I don't want to look up, for example, if I have Joe Ryan, I don't want to look up and see that Peter Bendix just raided, the Red Sox farm system or just raided the Yankees farm system. I want a piece of that. I'm building too. So that's where it gets fun. I don't think there's enough great prospects to go around for all three guys to get traded for the value that, we're talking about for those guys. Maybe 1-2 teams at the most. There's no way all three are getting traded. So I think that's fun. And then the other thing that I really get a big kick out of is everyone keeps thinking that it has to be the contenders trading for these guys. That's really not the case. I was told yesterday the Baltimore Orioles are involved in all three of those guys because they're looking at it like, hey, I can reboot this thing, come back and win next year, but I need an ace. So if I can get Alcantara or Gore or Orion, start to what I'm trying to do next year. So, while they're selling, and the Orioles are certainly planning on selling, they're going to trade all those expiring contracts. O'Hearn, Mullins, Charlie Morton. They may even do Laureano, even though they have an option just because the Reds and the Padres don't stop calling on them. But, I think at the end of the day, I think this is going to be very, very interesting how it plays out.
Okay. So I want to know. When is this going to happen, Jim? When? Because I'm bored now.
Tomorrow.
I'm bored.
It's gonna be tomorrow.
I know, but gosh, why do we wait so long? Why do we have to wait so long?
All right, so let me take you into the war room, right? I was in the war room 17 times, right, as a GM. So you're in the war room, and let's just take the reliever market for a minute, right? I've got them lined up in the order I want to trade for them, right? I've got Duran 1, I got Suarez 2, I got Bednar 3, I got Helsley 4. The list goes all the way down to Kyle Finnegan. So I got them in the order I want them, right? But I want Duran first. So I'm talking to Derek Falvey and Jeremy Zola, Minnesota, and I'm saying, you're my top guy. This is the price I'll pay. They say it's not enough. They tell me what they want. I'm still working them. So I'm going to the next team. I'm going to AJ Preller saying, look, I want Suarez, but look, it's just a rental. This is what I'll give, but I'm not giving this if I can get Duran. And then I'm going to John Mozeliak and with Helsley, and I'm going to Ben Cherington with Bednar. And I say, look, if I can get Duran or Suarez, I'm doing that. If not, I'm either coming to you to get Helsley or Bednar. This is what I'm willing to do. And then you're going to get a feel for how close you are of doing the deals and figure out what am I close, what am I not close. You're trying to communicate as much as possible on the phone with the text to find out where it's going. But if you're Minnesota and you're at the top with Duran, who is the most coveted closer, I'm going to wait until one of you blink. I don't have to trade him. So I'm going to wait until tomorrow at 5 p.m., 5:10 p.m. I'm going to know what's on the table, and then I'm going to make the decision on 5:10 if I'm going to make a trade on what's on the table, or am I going to go back to you one more time and say, if you add this guy or you add that guy, you got a deal. And then as soon as that happens and you make the deal, then guess what happens to the next guy? There's the domino. There's the pivot. There's the chaos. There's the tornado, the hurricane, all of that, the blizzard. It all happens at once. Boom. And then they all go quickly. And then tomorrow it's absolutely hilarious, and it's great for all of us that cover it.
And that's why we're on for 5+ hours tomorrow with the trade deadline show. We're ready for it.
Wait, is Jim with us for 5 hours tomorrow?
No,
That's what I want.
Jim's busy. Busy. But Jim will join us at some point, I think. Jim, I want to ask you about the Astros. Yes, he will be on with us at some point. So, and I've heard some of your interviews recently with Dana Brown, who's done a great job running this team, despite them missing so many parts. And I think leading the league right now with how many guys are on the IL. The two names that have popped up over the past 24 hours with some reports, including Ken Rosenthal and Chandler Rome, your colleagues at The Athletic. Dylan Cease as a target for them as far as starting pitching. And then this morning, we're seeing some rumblings about Carlos Correa. I wanted to get your thoughts on both of those players. Especially, I'll quiz you on the Correa part once you get to Cease. He's not having a good year. He's got a ton of money left. Would you want him and $100+ million left?
Okay. How much will the Twins pay down? They're going to pay most of it? If they're going to pay most of it, yeah, I'll take him and put him at third base because I don't know how long Paredes is going to be out with a hamstring. I need a bat. They prefer a left-handed bat. They would. They prefer a Brandon Lau. They prefer even O'Hearn, but they're in on Suarez, right? They're in on Correa. I mean, they know they need a bat. He knows it, right? Luckily, Pena's on rehab, so he'll be back soon. I don't know when Paredes is going to be back. I don't know when Alvarez is going to be back. And they're looking in the rearview mirror at Texas and Seattle just coming towards them. So, it depends how much the Twins will pay down and what it's going to cost to answer that question. The Dylan Cease thing, I think will probably happen. Now, it's funny because once Ken Rosenthal and Chandler Rome put that report out there, of course, I followed up their reporting, which they did a great job. And a lot of people were asking, well, why would the Astros want Dylan Cease and be a top target when he's 3-10 with a 4.7 ERA? Great question. All you have to do is look back 12 months ago. What happened at the deadline? Yusei Kikuchi at the deadline last year was 4.9 with a 4.7 ERA. Dylan Cease right now, 3-10 with a 4.7 ERA. And what happened? Dana Brown said his data room, I like to call it the analytic group, but he calls it the data room. So we'll call it the data room for the Astros. So his data room and pitching room told him the solution they thought they had for Kikuchi. Kikuchi came over and dominated, went 5-1, one of the best ERAs in the league after they got him in August and September. They believe they can do the same thing with Dylan Cease. And the underlying numbers, the strikeouts per nine, I mean, some of these numbers say, yeah, it might be the case. And so that's why they're in on him. They have a plan that if they get Cease, they think they can get him back. And if they make the playoffs, Hunter Brown game 1, Framber Valdez game 2, Dylan Cease game 3. That'd be pretty good if Cease becomes the guy he was last year when he won 14 games.
I'm not sure how familiar you were with the negotiations with the Arenado to the Astros before. Clearly, the Astros had that money to use. They spent that money elsewhere. They already got Isaac Paredes. Is there any chance if these other options, you said Gino Suarez, that it reopens with the Astros? Or is it like Dana Brown says, no thanks, like you already spurned us once and we were going to pay down your contract?
Yeah, I don't think Houston's going to be an option from what I'm hearing, to be honest. I think there's still a chance that the Tigers could be another option. They want Suarez. They thought they were going to get Suarez when Will Vest hit him in the knuckles. Luckily, the CAT scan came back negative. So I do think Suarez is going to be traded. The problem is there's so many teams in on him, right? You got the Seattle Mariners are in on him. Milwaukee Brewers are in on him. The Cubs, the Mets, the Phillies, so many teams in on Suarez that who knows where he's going, right? But I think if Arenado is traded, I don't know if he's going to waive the no trade to Detroit. He didn't do it in the offseason. I would think he might this time around when he looks at Detroit. You know, they're going to finish in first. They got a great pitching staff. I would think he might reconsider, but I haven't heard anything. I know John Mozeliak was going to talk to him, and then I never heard another word on how that discussion went, and the Cardinals haven't told me anything. So we'll have to wait and see, but it doesn't sound like Houston's an option for Arenado from what I'm hearing.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, people say he doesn't want to go to a winner or whatever. That's dumb. He's comfortable, and he has that right. What I want to know, Jim, is as you said, 17 years in the war room. Does the last series matter? Because everyone keeps talking, they're playing, the Rays are playing the Yankees, and how did the Cubs and the Brewers play each other, and how does this team do against this? Does it really matter, or do you already have your mind made up before those 3 games? Because tomorrow there's only 3 games on the schedule in total. So do those 3 games, 4 games leading up to the deadline really matter that much?
AJ, it never mattered to me, ever, when I sat in that seat. I always felt like you need to know what your team is, regardless of the standings. And if you don't know what it is, I'm not sure you're right for the job. But I'll be honest, the one thing I learned, surprisingly, is whether GMs are evaluating their own team or whether they're evaluating players, recency bias matters to a lot more people than you'd think. And that is one of the parts of this game that absolutely shocked me. I remember when I needed to move John Smiley's contract. He was making $4.6 million a year, and he had like 4 or 5 really bad starts in June. And I had a veteran baseball guy, Hall of Famer Pat Gillick, tell me, "Don't worry, the way this industry works, he puts together 3 or 4 good starts, you'll be able to move at the deadline." This is exactly what John Smiley did, and I traded him for Danny Graves, who ended up being the greatest, saves guy in Reds history. So, recency bias matters. It's like Alcantara. Honestly, last Friday, the Marlins did not think he was going to be traded. Then he shut out the Padres for 7 innings. Then last night he shut out the Cardinals for 5 innings, and all of a sudden someone wants to pay the price based on 2 starts. I don't completely get it. And with teams, the Giants were buying a week ago. Today they're selling. I don't know. It happens. I mean, I think you should know by the time you get here, and what you do the last couple of weeks, whether it be a player or a team outside of an injury. Yeah, I don't think it should matter, but for some teams it does. And if you're the GM or president, know what teams that matter with. I always studied what players were slumping, what players' value was going down in their team, because I felt like I could take advantage of it.
JB, quick follow-up on the Giants. What do you think that they'll sell? Yeah, they're 5 games out. I mean, they're in worse shape than the Cardinals.
Bullpen. Yeah,
bullpen.
Scott, great question. The bullpen, Doval. And that changed today. They were saying, we don't know what we're going to do. We're going to think. I had one GM last night going, we don't know what Texas or San Francisco is going to do. I said, well, I know Texas is buying. Okay, they want a reliever and a right-hand hitter. They're buying. They're not selling. I said, but the Giants, I don't know. Last time I heard, they were trying to buy a bat. And that was just a couple of days ago. And then all of a sudden, now we're hearing that they'll talk about the relievers. And look, I don't blame them. There's so many relievers out there, and people think we're going to see some overpays with some really good young position players being traded for them. And people want to be a part of it. And I totally get it. Look, in my career, I traded so many relievers. I traded Jeff Shaw for Paul Konerko, turned him into Mike Cameron, turned him into Ken Griffey. I traded Jeff Brantley for Dimitri Young. I traded Dave Burber for Sean Casey. I'll trade relievers all day long. I'll get another one. I'll go find one. You can make relievers today. Everybody throws 100. Everybody has these great breaking balls. Go find them in the minor leagues. We got all kinds of relievers sitting there waiting to be developed. Go do that. If I could trade a reliever for an everyday position player, amen, all day long.
All right, real quick, one team. Who makes the biggest impact move between now and tomorrow? What team? One team.
Buyer or seller? Buyer or seller?
I don't care about seller. I want buyers. I want to win. Phillies.
All right, I'm going Phillies. I think Dave Dombrowski's going to make a slamming move or 2. That's what I think. I think it's going to be huge. I also think Jerry Dipoto's not done. I think he's getting a reliever and maybe even another bat. But if I had to pick one team, I'm going Dave Dombrowski. It's his time. We watched him win a World Series with the Marlins, right? We watched him win a World Series with the Red Sox. We saw him take the Tigers to the World Series, the Phillies to the World Series, but he's never won one in Philly. This is the group he wants to win with, and this is the best team he's had, the best chance he's had. He's going to pay a price that he doesn't normally pay. One of his top prospects is going to be gone tomorrow.
Boom.
Smile, Kratz.
There you go.
Before we go to break, smile, Kratz.
Why?
Smile.
Why?
Because it's the Phillies.
Oh, because it's
Smile.
the Phillies. That's right. All right, we got to hit break. Some of the TV crowds going to the Cubs game. JB, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Do you have the best VPN in the game? Are you saving enough on your VPN? You got to check out surfshark.com/Val or use the code FOUL at checkout on the site to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. There's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee at surfshark.com/Val. Kratz, if you're on the go a lot, you got to check out Surfshark.
It's a no-brainer. I'm at the beach, so I should know something about a surf shark. Just saying. Get it done. 30 days.
That's right. Secure your digital life with Surfshark VPN. You can hit the link below for 4 extra months of Surfshark, either on the podcast page or on the YouTube channel. Don't let online threats catch you off guard. This has been your tech update. You want to keep your data safe and make sure you check out Surfshark today. It's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can secure your digital world right now. Hey, we're here. We're taking your questions right now on YouTube, and then we'll keep doing trade talk. Ken Rosenthal is joining us in approximately 10 minutes, so stay tuned on that front. But I'll rip through some questions right now. Casey said, what about Chris Sale? Anyone looking for a legit ace? Haven't heard him talked about. Not getting traded.
Signed for next year, not happening.
Signed for next year. Braves are contending next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think the rehab's moving too fast to him right now, and I don't blame the Braves. Their season's
Why would they rush
done.
him? They're not gonna win anything this year, except one of the most disappointing seasons of all time.
Mm-hmm. Doc said chances of Stephen Kwan getting dealt. I'll go 50-50.
I would say under that. I think they
Under
keep
that?
him for next year because I think Stephen Vogt says I got to have somebody to play for me next year.
He's a star.
He's a great player.
He's a really good player.
Him and Ramirez at the top of the order, they have to find some other pieces, but those two are a great start for any team. Stephen Vogt doesn't want to start over.
I think some teams recognize that he's probably an even more important player for October. Elite defense, great base runner, high baseball IQ, makes contact.
And has some pop.
Has a little more pop than he used to. I mean, that is a complete player, and it gives you variety. And what changes in October? The pitching. The pitching tightens up, so you don't face the crap. And no one's crap in the big leagues, but you know what I'm saying. You face the best of the best in October. So I think that's a big deal. But what would you put it at, 30%?
Yeah, I'd say 25%.
25%.
Some team comes in and blows them away.
Also, all the other GMs love to say how Cleveland's so difficult to work with on trades.
Every GM is so hard to work with. Every GM.
The most significant trade in the past 24 hours, as we're digging in the weeds, is Seranthony Domínguez moving over to the Toronto Blue Jays, literally moving over clubhouse to clubhouse, and then he pitched in game 2 of the doubleheader. The trade goes down, and they're able to use him against his former club. It was full of fun and awkwardness, and he had a nice inning. Nice little scoreless outing for a Blue Jays team that needs to get it together. Doubleheader sweep pulled off by the Orioles, who are having fun one last ride with their team until a bunch of their players get dealt. And he wasn't the only one with the easy commute. Jake Rill reporting how the prospect that moved, Jaron Watts Brown, is switching clubhouses in the minors because the Double-A New Hampshire team that's Toronto's affiliate was playing the Double-A Chesapeake team that's the Orioles affiliate.
Though.
Why?
Much harder. Because he's in the minor leagues. He's got to go back to New Hampshire and get his jump and then go back to Bowie. Like, I don't know. I mean,
and they don't pay for it.
Maybe the Orioles will pay for him to fly up there or something and drive back or fly him back. I don't know, on an off day. But, I mean, Seranthony Domínguez, he can get someone just to send his stuff. You know, the Orioles will just pack his stuff up. You can get a clubhouse guy to pack your stuff up and send it or drive it up there. That's much easier than what just happened to the minor league guy.
What do we think about the Blue Jays getting Seranthony Domínguez and DFAing Chad Green, who wasn't having a great year? Blue Jays trying to shore up the bullpen a little bit. I mean, this is a guy that you can put into a big scenario in a big game and in the playoffs. That's what you want. You want to keep accumulating the circle of trust.
That's a nice move. But if they don't start beating the Orioles, it's not going to matter because, geez, they might get swept in a 4-game series.
Yeah, they're still up 4 games.
I know, but still, like, they were so hot, and then to come in and have this happen is disappointing for the Blue Jays for sure. I mean, people keep saying it though. Right now, the most important trade in all of baseball has been one that not a lot of people are talking about. Savale for Andrew Vaughn, who's been absolutely on fire since he went to the Brew Crew.
Sometimes those little moves go a long way. Will Salmon and Mitch Bannon, who both report for The Athletic, say that the Blue Jays are now looking for a swingman-type reliever and another high-leverage arm.
Yeah, them and every other team.
Yeah, everyone wants a high-leverage reliever. There are a lot available. I think they'll get one because I think they're more along the lines of doing something crazy for GM terms. With a prospect.
Giving up like a top 10 prospect for a reliever, like that's crazy.
How dare they? But I do think that they're more willing to do that because they recognize the window that they're in. American League's wide open.
Yeah.
Who's the best team in the American League? Exactly.
You want to say the Tigers, but they've been god-awful for about 2 weeks now. Blue Jays, you want to say, but if they get swept by the Orioles, can you say that? I don't know. Kratz, your thoughts? I don't know.
I mean, recency bias. Didn't Jim just teach us about recency bias? Shouldn't we take all that stuff off the table? I still say it has to be the Tigers. I still say they have to be the best team. But man, the Astros are like, well, why does nobody really think we're good? Like, we're about to get Jeremy Pena back. We think we're getting Yordan Alvarez back. Like, to me, the Astros are in that conversation. I get it. The Blue Jays had the best record in baseball for a minute, but recency bias, no slug. There's a lot of just the American League's just not as good as the National League.
What would you like to see the Jays do?
That high reliever. I mean, that to me, I think they need slug. And I say that, but I also say, man, like they're doubling down and then they're tripling down this offseason, getting defense. Like they went and got Andres Gimenez. People are like, why would they want that contract? Like he doesn't hit that much. They're like, it's tough to hit in this stadium. To me, I'd love to see them get some kind of slug and a high leverage reliever. I think if you're going to take a chance on anything, take the chance that Erik Lauer is going to continue to do what he's doing. He's probably not going to be one of your starters in the playoffs, so it's fine. I think he's going to help you make it. And that Scherzer is a veteran, and he knows when he's good and when he's not good. So I feel like you got to trust that and not waste the chance to get other pieces by just adding to your starting rotation. But I know a lot of people are writing that they want that swing guy, that starter/reliever guy.
Yeah, so I'll give you 2 tweets here. One from Mitch Bannon, who's covering the team for The Athletic. He said some Jays trade thoughts. Seranthony Domínguez can fill the Yimi Garcia role perfectly for the next few months. If Garcia comes back too, great. And then he was talking about the prospect on the other side, big pitching development win, took a step in 25 with an attack mentality, new kick change, but trade helps the Jays get better today. Well, that's the point, is that you can grow pitching prospects like this if you've got a good pitching development program, and that can turn into trade assets. Some of them come up, and some of them obviously turn into this. And then last point, Mark Feinsand, even with the Dominguez acquisition, the Blue Jays remain firmly in the hunt for Cardinals closer Ryan Helsley. That'd be a great pickup for Toronto.
Nice for them.
Whew, that'd be a great pickup. And for me, if I'm Toronto, I'm less concerned about grabbing a reliever who I have years of control of. Sure, that'd be great.
Dude, Toronto's window is now.
Yeah, it's right now. So get your rental and let's play ball.
Atkins and Shapiro, they know that. They're full go right now.
Full go. I don't care about 3-year reliever. I want one.
Because Bo might be gone at the end of the year. They could lose some other guys. So, I mean, it's full go right now.
Yep, exactly. All right, full go for us is talking to Ken Rosenthal in 3 minutes. We'll be right back. Kratz, at some point, we're going to laugh about how healthcare was so reactive and not proactive. And we're starting to change that with Superpower. They believe every human has 100+ year potential, and they're here to help you get there. I'm a big believer in this. I just started the journey, so I'm excited about it. And what do you think?
As a player, you're always looking ways to improve yourself, improve your health. And this is an easy way. Superpowers made it way easier than when I was playing. You had to go get all these lab panels, and it was a long, drawn-out, expensive process. But now with Superpower, so this is awesome for me. I'm excited about it.
They'll send a licensed professional to your home, or you can visit a nearby lab. For a limited time, the FT fam can get $50 off an annual Superpower membership by using code FOUL at checkout. Just head to superpower.com and use code FOUL to get our exclusive discount. Your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and please support FT and tell them we sent you. There was a little trade that Ken Rosenthal reported. He's going to join us in a couple minutes. Angels acquiring left-handed reliever Andrew Chafin from the Washington Nationals. So does that mean the Angels are in buy mode and they're shutting down the Taylor Ward, Tyler Anderson, Kenley Jansen, Luis Rengifo kind of conversations?
I don't know what the Angels are doing. This trade doesn't make any sense. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing?
Who's their owner?
Didn't they do this was it 2 years ago with Giolito? And
2 years ago.
That was while they had
Lopez,
Ohtani for
and
the
then
last
they turned
run.
around and DFA'd him like right before they put him on waivers or whatever, right before the end of September, so it wouldn't go against their salary luxury cap tax thing. Like, I don't know what they're doing.
They also got Luis Garcia in this deal, and they give out Jake Eder and Sam Brown prospects.
Cool. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're doing.
They're pushing
5
their
games out.
chips in, baby.
They're 5 games out of the wild card right now. Right?
Okay.
They're
pushing their chip in.
Sorry, they're 4 games out behind Royals, Guardians, Rays, and Rangers. Are they better than any of those teams above them?
They might be if the Guardians and the Rays sell.
Okay, but they still have the Royals.
Maybe one team falls off.
Rangers, Mariners, Red
There's
Sox.
a lot
Yankees.
of maybes.
So the 3 wild cards right now are Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners. They better than those 3?
The problem is you're not dealing with someone who knows ball that well. The owner is in charge, and he likes to do whatever the heck he wants. It's a unique situation there. Let's hit the inside scoop. FC Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal just reported on that trade between the Angels and the Nationals. Ken, does that mean that the Angels are not going to sell away their pieces like a Kenley Jansen, Taylor Ward, etc.? Are those guys off the market now, and they're going to, even if they don't buy hard, they're going to buy a little bit and be in this thing?
I don't know that I can make that statement definitively, and I don't know exactly what the Angels are doing. I heard earlier this morning and reported that they were looking at middle relief types and just going to add in a modest way. They've done that with this trade, with the Chafin Garcia trade with the Nationals. Now, does that mean they subtract as well? I don't know, but I don't think so. My guess is they don't want to do too much and be crazy buyers because they're 4 games out in the wild card, and let's face it, they're not winning the World Series this year. But they want to be as competitive as reasonably possible within the framework of what they're doing. And this trade would seemingly enable them to do that or help them do that. Does it lead to other trades, sell-type trades? I can't say for sure, but my guess, and it's just a guess, would be no.
Another big one that has popped up over the past 24 hours is how active will the Houston Astros be? It sounds like that Isaac Paredes injury is pretty serious. Does a Carlos Correa really enter the fold for this team? And if not, I know you reported about Dylan Cease or a big name starter for them. What do you think?
Well, we did report on Dylan Cease being a focus yesterday, and he's certainly at the top of their wish list. I don't know exactly how they go about getting him because they don't have much of a farm system, and payroll is a question with them, luxury tax payroll. Carlos Correa, Dan Hayes, and Chandler Rome just posted a story about this on The Athletic, and it went into good amount of detail about just how unlikely this is. Now, you never say never. Things can happen, but they're trying to move their relievers, or at least talking about moving their relievers. John Duran, Griffin Jacks. They've got Danny Coulomb to move. They've got other pieces in play as well, Willie Castro. It sure doesn't sound to me like they're locked in on a Correa trade, and it would require his approval. He's got a lot of money. I'm sure the Twins would have to pay some. As I said, Dan and Chandler wrote a nice and detailed story about just what this is and how unlikely this is. Jim Crane, the Astros owner, likes stars, and that's what's driving a lot of this. It drives the Dylan Cease conversation, and it drives the Correa conversation. But if I had to guess, and again, we're guessing here, we're picking out things out of the air, I would say Dylan Cease more likely than Correa.
Shane Bieber, you talked about the fact he hasn't even pitched in a big league game yet. How serious are the Cubs or other teams at looking at Shane Bieber, and what is he actually going to bring?
I'm sure they're looking, and he's been on a rehab assignment coming off Tommy John, and he's pitched well. He looks good. The question is, do you take the chance on Shane Bieber coming off the surgery and knowing that pitchers coming off the surgery aren't always as sharp as they will be later? And he's got a $16 million player option, and that complicates things as well. If he takes that player option, are you comfortable with it? If he pitches well enough where he would decline it and hit the open market, are you comfortable enough paying whatever the Guardians would want? It's a complicated situation, obviously, but he is definitely in play. And I believe we talked about this yesterday, guys. With Clase and Luis Ortiz on non-disciplinary paid leave, it seems like the Guardians are more inclined perhaps to listen than they would have been otherwise on some of their players. And Kwan would be one, Bieber would be another. They always set their bar pretty high, and they always stay disciplined with what they are willing to accept in return. They don't lower the bar. But at the same time, they know this year is lost. Next year, do they want Kwan back? Well, he's got 2 more years of control. That's the question.
All right, I'm going to go to another team. We mentioned the Angels, and you don't know what they're doing. The Giants. What are they doing? Because they have completely, I don't want to say fallen apart, but they're at 500 now. They're way back in the division. They're back in the wild card. What are they going to do? Because Buster Posey's always a player. He wants to go for it. But does he have the pieces to make the trades, or is he going to pivot and sell and try to build for the future?
AJ, my question with them is, are they worth further reinforcing after the Devers trade? They've played so poorly, losing 11 of 13. Now, I know it's one window in the season and things can change quickly over the final 2 months, but it's not exactly like they're screaming, hey, man, help our club, Buster, because we're really good. They haven't been really good. So there are reports this morning that they're willing to listen on their relievers. Obviously, Camilo Doval would be the most enticing of those. So I can see them doing that. And I can see them possibly going in a slight sell direction. But at the same time, as you mentioned, AJ, and you're so right about this, Buster Posey wants to win. He doesn't envision retreat, and this would be something of a retreat. So maybe you use a reliever to get a bat that you need at the major league level. That would be an advisable thing to do. I don't know if that's what they have in mind. It's unclear right now.
Ken, there haven't been a ton of moves over the past week, but one team that's made 3 moves is the New York Yankees. They acquired Ryan McMahon, Ahmed Rosario, and Austin Slater, are lesser names, but they're going to help in a platoon sense and for depth. So what do you think of what they've done? And do you think that they're still going to go hard in this market like Brian Cashman said he would?
I do. And the Aaron Judge injury, they believe, will be one in which he misses minimal time. And they still envision themselves in a watered-down American League, possibly getting hot again and winning. As poorly as they've played in the recent weeks, they still think they're good and probably should still think that, right? So I still envision them going for bullpen help, multiple relievers, and maybe a starter as well. Now, the question I have now is, after making these first 3 deals, in which they didn't give up a whole lot, even for McMahon, do you now have the prospect power to go after one of the bigger relievers or even a bigger starter? They certainly do. They're not going to trade certain guys at the top of their system, but they have a very deep system. They've been good at developing pitching, and I imagine they'll be pretty active. I know they'll be pretty active looking for bullpen help as well as a starter.
I asked you about the Brewers and the Cubs battling it out in the trades and battling it out in their recent series. What about the Mets and Phillies? Both need relief pitching. I mean, I think everybody needs relief pitching, but Phillies desperately need it. The Mets need it outside of Edwin Diaz. Everybody can add it. How is that going to shake out, and which team is more in a position to push more aggressively?
I don't know that I could say either team is in an advantageous spot over the other about being aggressive. Dave Dombrowski, his history with the Phillies, with the Red Sox, with the Tigers is that he's aggressive. I miss the Marlins. That's his style. That's his nature. Would I expect him to be more aggressive than David Stearns? Yes, just because of what Dombrowski has done, his track record versus Stearns' track record. What's interesting, Erik, as you noted, is they're competing for some of the same players in the bullpen market. And even Luis Robert Jr. is a guy that both teams are looking at. So once the dust settles at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, 3% Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, then we'll have a better idea of where these two teams stand. But yes, there's no question that they're competing with one another.
Ken, first of all, we're going to clip that where you said I'm right, because that never happened. Second of all, enjoy Bristol. There's not great cell service in Bristol, so when you're trying to make all your calls tomorrow, you better make sure you have a sat phone. Okay, but then what are the Diamondbacks going to do? What are the Diamondbacks? Are they going to sell all these pieces? Because we hear Gallen, we hear Merrill Kelly, we've heard Suarez, obviously, but there's other names. Jake McCarthy's been mentioned. There's a ton of names that are they really going to trade everybody?
I don't know. And Mike Hazen, their GM, is in an interesting position, obviously. He wanted to compete this year. Injuries robbed them of any chance of doing that. And the way the Diamondbacks see it, they'll trade Suarez, Gallen, and Kelly. Suarez almost certainly. Gallen and Kelly too. But what they have to do in those trades is exceed the value of the draft pick they would get as compensation if one of those players left after rejecting a qualifying offer. So you know how this works. You reject a qualifying offer, you become a free agent, you sign with another team, your club, your original club, gets a draft pick. The pick likely would be less valuable for Kelly, but at the same time, the Diamondbacks have values in mind for each of these guys. I do expect that they're going to move. To me, a rental starting pitcher in this market, which is starved for starting pitching, it's going to have value. And it's not going to have extreme value that maybe the Pirates are asking for from Mitch Keller, or the Marlins for either Alcantara or Cabrera. But for a rental, I would think you could do pretty well. And that's why I expect those three guys to move. Jake McCarthy, I'm not as sure about. The Astros have inquired about him. Other teams, I'm sure as well. But the expiring contract guys, those are the ones you mentioned. Those are the most likely to go.
Ken, how much has times changed since you started this? Because you're talking about draft picks. They got to get more value than the draft pick compensation. We just had Jim Bowden on talking about, people don't want to give up because GMs don't want to look bad when they make trades down the road. How much have times changed when teams used to just try to win?
Times have changed dramatically, AJ, and in so many different ways. But let's hit the last thing you said there, teams trying to win. There is definitely now, in my opinion, but I think this is pretty well supported, more restraint by teams, more fear by teams of making a bad move, and less go-for-it mentality. Teams rely on their computer models. They do not rely on their guts. In many ways, that's a good thing. But in some ways, it leads to less action, and it leads to analysis by paralysis. So that's one thing that's changed. A lot has changed over the years with regard to just the media and how we report these trades. When I started, there was no internet, of course. So it's a different time, and times evolve. We all understand that. But in terms of having GMs who are ready to kind of belly up to the bar and write names on napkins, those days are over.
Yeah, and the comp pick sucks for this purpose. I mean, it definitely holds back trade. So for fans, It's not been great, which is all I care about. I'm going to ask you about the Red Sox. They're hanging around. They have open money. The Devers trade has been a disaster so far for the Giants. So on Boston's side, do you think they're going to be super aggressive here for patching up holes, pitching, first base, maybe even a catcher if they can find one?
They're one of the more fascinating teams right now. Them in Detroit, I would say, are two of them. The Cubs would be a third. What are these teams going to do? Now, Boston, with Craig Breslow running baseball operations, had, in retrospect now, a terrific offseason. Crochet and Chapman, Narvaez, they did really well. Even Buehler, not been great, but he could still be okay. Patrick Sandoval, great job. The deadline last year, Breslow was not as effective. Now, he didn't have as good a team, so maybe he wasn't as eager to reinforce it, but we will see what they do because all those needs you listed, Scott, are still there. They definitely want a starting pitcher, and they definitely want a first baseman. How willing they are going to be to get those pieces, that remains to be seen.
Okay. Ken, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you tomorrow for trade deadline day.
Thanks, guys.
Ken Rosenthal, obviously locked in on Twitter over the next 24 hours. We'll grab him tomorrow. Also tomorrow, after the dust settles, Fair Territory will happen for a full trade recap show, and there will be a lot of action. I know a lot of you right now are complaining, hey, there's not that much going on. Well, we'll get into that, but there are a ton of rumors that we're going to spread around and break down coming up next on FT. Stick around. I'm going to bring up something from some people in the chat. They're like, hey, you guys criticize the Angels sometimes. Do you want them to buy or do you want them to sell? I want them to buy,
but I want them to buy. Like, if they're going to buy, they got to buy it all.
Yeah, not Chafin and Luis Garcia. That's nice bullpen depth, but that's not going to
win them the World Series.
Right. And for me, I don't even have those expectations for them. Teams have different expectations. For the Angels, I think we all agree that if they even sniff the wild card series, if they make the playoffs, this season is a roaring success. They were almost a 100-loss team last year. They haven't been to the playoffs in forever. So if they even sniff the playoffs, I can even make a case that if we get to the final week or so of the season and they're in the hunt, that would be a roaring success. That's why I think I'm okay with the Angels saying, you know what? There are a lot of teams selling in the American League. Let's be one of the teams that tries to push chips in. But if you're going to do that, then let's see you do something. Is that your point?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's not a knock on Chafin or Garcia.
No.
But it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in this, but that doesn't move the needle for me. Like, I want a needle mover. Whatever that is, a bat, a reliever, whatever that is, I want something that, you know, a top frontline starter because they haven't had those guys.
I agree.
What if they're in on? I mean, what if they're in on Alcantara? What if Artie Moreno says, I'm never going to spend in free agency for a good starting pitcher, and Perry Managian's like, I'll fix you, Artie. I'll go get my starting pitcher from another team. Just saying, it's somebody that, because they want this team to win. To me, that would be a great move. So fans are like, well, what do you want him to do? That would be a great move because he would be around for next year. It's kind of a gamble. I get it. But you got to kind of gamble. When your owner's kind of a loose cannon with how he spends his money, you got to go out and spend it on good stuff. And I think Alcantara could be good stuff.
Yeah, fill out that
also,
rotation.
Here's the thing. If they could do what the Padres did with Soto, trade for him, and if it doesn't work, if it works out and they're not good next year, turn it around and get another package back for them.
I could not agree more.
I mean, and by the way, please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, that would be nice. I know there's about 1,500 live watching right now. But yeah, Kikuchi, good. Jose Soriano, good. Tyler Anderson's pretty solid. Kyle Hendricks actually having a decent year. Okay. Give me Sandy in that rotation.
Yeah, it changes things.
I'm with you. There are multiple options there. There's Sandy. There's the point here is that if you're the Angels and you want to buying a long-term piece is going to cost you more, but you can flip that player again. So I'm with you guys. We all say buy. Spreading rumors. We are just scouring social media to bring you the latest from all of the reporters and insiders across Major League Baseball. I think the biggest name to pop up this morning was Carlos Correa. We asked Ken Rosenthal and Jim Bowden about it in other segments, so if you want to check that out, go for it. You can find it on our YouTube channel. But let's bring this up from John Heyman. Injury-wrecked first-place Astros have inquired about former star Carlos Correa. Astros have been preferring a lefty hitting infielder, but they do love Correa, who's a righty bat. So do the Twins, but they're also in sell mode now. Now, Correa has been pretty vocal about how he likes being in Minnesota. There have been reports since this one from, I believe, Bob Nightingale saying that Correa told teammates, A, he'd waive the no-trade clause, B, he'd be down for third base. Okay, now we're talking, but let me present this part. Let's say the Twins eat half the contract. He's got $12 million left this year and then about, I think, $93 million over 3 seasons. He's got chronic injury issues and he's struggling this year. He's about a 0 WAR player, Baseball Reference. Now, do I think he'd be better the last couple months? If he's healthy, yes. But is that who you want to push your chips in for? Just because the reunion sounds good? Like, do you believe that Correa can kind of be revitalized here for the rest of the season and help the Astros in their chase for a World Series? Trying to evaluate the player, because right now, if you look at the stats that front offices look at, it's been a really tough year. Even fielding-wise, I mean, he's had some great seasons. His range, outs above average, is 26th percentile, -2 right now. So I want to make sure that he's okay. That's why he had issues getting the long-term contract in the first place, because of chronic injury issues.
I can't see him trading him. I just can't.
You don't see it?
I just don't see it happen. I mean, would the Twins probably like to do that? Probably. But they not with the money owed. I mean, they'd have to eat a lot of the money if they want to get anything back in return for him. And I don't see the Astros making that move. I just don't think that's the move that's going to get them over the top. Nothing against Carlos Correa, but Pena comes back, Paredes comes back. Where does Correa play? You think he's going to be happy doing that?
Well, Correa's going to play third, and then
Paredes the second?
Yeah. Paredes going to play second.
I don't know that Correa will be okay with it. Do you think Correa will be okay with that after knowing Correa a little bit, Kratz? I mean, the way
playing third?
Yeah, the way he's talked about being the leader in the infield and all that, you think he'd be okay with that? I don't know.
I do.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm not saying he will or won't. I'm just asking.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you asked him a year and a half ago to go join like a super team and play third, he'd be like, what? No. I think maybe he reevaluates it right now. I think that dude, all the stuff he does it to want to win. So to me, I think he does. And maybe he says, hey, does that lack of range, does that lack above, outs above average improve at third base? He's seen a lot of his counterparts go to third base and have successful careers.
I'm going to take a different turn on this one. Whatever he says, I think at this very moment, he wants out of Minnesota. I think the Astros would be a great landing spot. He's comfortable there. They're competing. There's probably a few other teams he'd be interested in joining as well. I just think it's very complicated to get a trade like this done in 24 hours. These trades are difficult. These are usually off-season trades. There's a lot of talk about how much money gets eaten up. In my mind, you're on a Minnesota team right now that is not able to do much in the transaction fold over the past few years. This is real business. They are for sale. There's only so much that they can do. They can clear books. They can't really add to the books because it affects the sale price. We've talked about this. So if I'm Carlos Correa and I'm late in my career and all he cares about, like we've talked about, is winning, and I mean, this dude does nothing but baseball 24/7. I think he wants to play for a contender right now.
Well, we thought Minnesota was going to be that team when he signed there. That's why he signed there.
But they're not right now.
They lied to him.
And for the next few years, they're probably not going to be because they're going through a sale process. I think he wants out.
Gets traded.
I really do.
I don't think he gets traded, but I think he's pissed. I agree with you, Scott. I don't think he gets traded just because I think it'd be tough. But they lied to him. Of course he wants out. I'd have a hard time believing he doesn't want out. Byron Buxton, he said he doesn't want out. He likes it. Commendable to him. But they lied to Carlos Correa. They told him, yes, we're going to spend more. It's not just going to be you. And he said, I'm on board. Let's do it.
They're actually a similar age, too. I thought Buxton was younger, but Correa's 30? Only 30?
Maybe. I mean, he did come up pretty young.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And then Buxton's 31. Correa's almost 31 in September, and Buxton's turning 32 in December, according to what I'm reading.
Behind each other, weren't they? Buxton
yeah, I think
Correa
so.
1-1.
Yeah, so. But Buxton wants to stay. I think Correa is down to go. Let's talk Twins closer. Duran's having a great year. Sell high?
Yeah.
They
What did
should
Jim
be able to
Bowden
get a
say?
lot.
I can always find relievers. I can
Mhm.
find reliever after reliever after reliever.
On the contender side, he can win you a World Series.
He can. Here's the way I look at closers. Can I picture him, if we get to the World Series, being on the mound to close a Game 7 out? Aroldis Chapman, was he that guy for the Cubs?
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm talking about guys that were traded during the season. Can you see Yohan Duran on the mound with the light show going off, the ninth inning of Game 7 of a World Series? Can he close it out? Is that something you would like if you're a contending team?
No doubt.
Absolutely. So that's the way I look at closers when these trades are made, if they're going to stay as closers.
Mark Feinsand saying a few minutes ago, sources say, quote, things are moving on Duran. Twins could move their closer today. Any team wants him. Any team that's in a playoff race wants him.
They're not waiting around. I think he's a perfect fit for any team that needs a closer. I think the teams that have a solidified closer probably won't bid as high.
And he's probably the best one on the market. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you
This
want
year?
him? You want him or Helsley? Asking
Him.
either of you guys. Who you want him? Even though Helsley, I think
Helsley's more of a strikeout guy.
That's
Helsley's
what I'm
more
saying.
of a
More
strikeout.
strikeouts.
Duran's more of a weak contact guy.
This year, though, they're pretty much in the same realm.
Are they?
Because Helsley's down a little this year. Last year, he was ridiculous. And remember, relief pitching is about the hot hand. Relievers are volatile. Helsley's great. When I say, I want Duran over Helsley, it's not like I'm saying, I don't want Helsley. I think there are 5 to 7 relievers that are available that I feel really comfortable about pitching 7th, 8th, or 9th inning in a playoff game for me. Helsley's on that list. Duran's just a little bit higher for me. I think the stuff is a little better and more unique. And yes, strikeout numbers this year, Ryan Helsley, 36 innings, 41 Ks. Duran, 49 in the third innings. That's a lot already. 53 Ks. So they're in basically the same spot with their K rate. Duran's got a 2.01 ERA. Helsley's got a 3.00 ERA. They're both great. One is going to cost way more. Duran is going to cost way more because of the team control. Mm-hmm. He's got 2 years left after this. And keep in mind, or is it 2 years left after this or 1 year left after this? I'll double check that. But either way, this is multiple years of control of a guy who could close out a World Series for you. So that stands out to me. Why? Who do you think, Kratz? Do you prefer Helsley this year in October? Or because for me, I mean, they both would be great options. If a contender gets one of them, you should be flipping out in happiness if you're a fan.
It's 2 years more control of Duran. And
After this?
Yes.
Yeah, he's free agent after 27, although remember, 2027 might be a little wonky season because we're going to have a lockout. But anyway.
You're looking to win today's World Series and tomorrow's World Series, not 2027's. But yes, I hear what you're saying. Right now, I take Duran. But the reason I asked was because last year you would have said the opposite. Helsley was more on fire this offseason. You would have taken Helsley over Duran. Even with the years of control, it would cost you less. And Helsley was coming off of a banger year. Duran, that splinker, he's like one of the original splinker guys. I think that plays in the playoffs, that splitter when guys are trying to catch up to 102, 103. I think it plays. There's a little uptick in his strikeouts this year. And who knows, maybe he goes to a team that really knows, hey, you know what, we're gonna unlock that strikeout potential, and it might be overuse of a certain pitch more than what the Twins were doing.
Yeah, and for Duran, last year was a little bit of a blip for him. He had a late start.
The year before.
2023, he was ridiculous. Exactly. And he was still good last year. He had a slow start. I'm looking back to some of the articles. He had mechanical issues since spring training. They found an issue in May. And then also he was critical this spring training about his conditioning last year. He said he was on a plan in 2023, and then he changed it the next year, changed back this year, whatever. He's good. He's very damn good. All right, let's throw another rumor on the screen and react to it. Adrian Hauser scratched from his start today for the White Sox. Hasn't been traded yet, this according to John Heyman, but they're holding out in anticipation of a deal by 6 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. Makes total sense. easy pickup for them, having a really solid year. Rotation filler for a team. He's not going to start a playoff game, even though he's having a really nice year.
In
Really?
a 7-game series, he could be a fourth option.
Okay.
Right? I mean, he's having a nice year, especially since he's doing all right. He's a fourth option on the team. If you're the Astros and you can get Cease and Hauser, and you go Fromber, Hunter Brown, Cease, Hauser, I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world.
They have a ton of guys coming back, but yeah.
I don't know. I'm just throwing a random team out there.
Right.
I'm going Blue Jays. They don't really need a starter, and yet everyone's linking them to starters. So you're sitting there going, okay, it's somebody that can eat innings. To me, I think I've always felt like House was a guy because he came up when I was with the Brewers. He was a dude that threw up on the mound the day they called him up to the big leagues. But to me, he was a huge. I thought he'd be a great San Francisco Giant. Puts the ball in play, not a lot of homers. And you see what happens this year. He changes his diet a little bit. He's having a great year, but the Giants are out of it. So, in my opinion, I don't see him. But I think a Blue Jay, kind of like a fourth or fifth starter type of role for him. And he has pitched out of the pen a little bit.
I like all of that, everything you said. What about Luis Robert and the latest rumors flying around? Last night, Mark Feinstein reported that the Mets have been one of the more aggressive teams in pursuit of Robert. And Feinstein said Luis Angel Acuna is at least one name that's been brought up in trade discussions. I think the White Sox would do that pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
No? You're going to get a major league player. Now, is Luis Angel Acuna going to be a star? No. But I think he's going to be in the league for a while as a nice super utility player.
Yeah. Jim said the other day, he said, I would put him on the Phillies and put him right in between Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber's locker. Obviously, I don't know their clubhouse. I don't know the Mets clubhouse. If I'm looking from afar, I think Luis Robert fits more on the Mets. And you put him in between two Latin players who say, this is what our goal is here. This is how we're going to win. It's not anything about Schwarber or Harper. It's how do you get the most out of this guy and say, we need you to show up every single day. So, and I'm not sure who that is for the Mets, but whatever it is, I completely agreed with Jim, just maybe not with the Phillies and more with the Mets because the guy's still stealing bases. Like, yes, he's hitting whatever he's hitting, but he's still stealing bases. He will add value to a team, just not the 2023 all-star value.
I think you can catch lightning in a bottle with him, and that's why they're getting a ton of phone calls. And so the White Sox are like, oh, we're getting a lot of calls, then we should get a higher level prospect. And the teams are like, whoa, we're interested, but at
just
this
you're getting
level.
a lot of calls doesn't mean you get more for them.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling around the same, asking for the same thing.
Yeah, and he's an elite defender too, Kratz, which will help them a lot. He'll be a center field upgrade for them.
Can he stay healthy?
2 months. Give me 2 months. And put him next to Lindor, Soto, Starling, Marte. It will make a difference.
Okay.
Those are winning players.
What about on Phillies? Harper, Castellanos?
Well, he just said. I mean, there is a Latin player component. I am actually in between this one.
Okay, so you're talking about the Latin player component.
Yeah.
Well, when they had Abreu, Jimenez, Moncada,
different.
Robert.
What happened when Abreu? What happened when Abreu left?
I'm just saying, like that.
What happened when Abreu left?
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying now it's the component.
Abreu,
and they had a manager, and the manager too.
Come on, stop. I won't even start with that. But
the manager is from Puerto Rico. Isn't Pedro Grifol from Puerto Rico?
Pedro Grifol's
from Miami.
A rough go.
Oh, okay.
Stop.
Yeah,
sorry.
had a rough go.
What descent? He's of Latin descent.
Yes, bad hire. That's it. To me,
okay.
Luis Robert was on a playoff team. He knew what the playoffs looked like when they had the blackout at Comiskey Park, when they had the blackout at Rate Field in Chicago. Like, he knows what the playoffs looks like. Does he want that? I don't know. That's whatever it's his choice. He is a guy that needs to make the choice. I want to be an everyday player. And I'm not saying Jose Abreu was that to him, but if somebody like that has is swaying on the fence and says, I don't know which way I want to go, like, my calf is banged up a little bit. Do I want to play? And Jose Abreu is out there as one Latin player told me, the godfather of the Latin players with the White Sox, and he's out there playing every single day at first base. Luis Roberts looking over, and Jose goes, "Come on, Poppy. We're going out there. We're going to go play." Then you go play. That's what happens in the clubhouse. That's what happens in the clubhouse. Guys make – it's not just Latin players. It's American players. I saw a guy get traded over to a team I played on that had a superstar that wouldn't play entire games. This dude was like, "I'm not coming out in the seventh." And the superstar was like, "I'm not coming out either." We needed him coming down the stretch. So it's something that it fluctuates. It flows through the team when you have guys that other guys look at and don't want to be showing up, or that don't want to that want to follow somebody and like they get on board. So to me, Luis Roberts there, he's that guy. He can be that guy.
Who are the players? I want to know the players.
Christian Yelich, Ryan Braun.
Okay.
Boom. There you go.
There you go. Okay, great.
Yelly
Awesome.
is that Yelly is he's not a very loud leader. He's a very quiet leader. This dude would play every day. Lorenzo Cain plays every day. They would bust on Brawny all the time. And all of a sudden, Brawny's like, "Nah, screw that. We need it. I want to be out there." Guess who hits 2 homers against the Tigers at the end of the season just to add to his Brewers lore? Like, that kind of stuff pushes locker rooms to the next level, gets the most out of players. And it's awesome. Ryan Braun was dealing with stuff with his back that, like, maybe he shouldn't have been out there all 9 innings. But this dude pushed it, and I also think it was because of the guys that they brought in and helped him push it, and he was in it.
Just to finish on this, I actually think either franchise would work well for Robert. Sure. If he goes to the Phillies or the Mets, you're suddenly vaulted into a clubhouse full of superstars. They're playing. They're in a race. That's why I'm in the middle. I think either team would vault him to a different spot and put him in a position to be a big factor down the stretch. One more. Let's do one more rumor, and then we're going to focus on the Padres for a little bit. This is actually a former Padre prospect. John Heyman said nearly every contender has checked on Nats all-star lefty Mackenzie Gore. Nats are listening as promised, but most come away thinking that Mackenzie Gore stays in D.C. This is a massive, massive mistake. If they get what they want or close to it, I would trade him.
Yeah.
This is a career year for him.
If you get a huge deal, like a Soto type return, then how would you not?
This is a career year for Mackenzie Gore. Career year. You trade him.
It won't be a Soto type return, in my opinion. It could be a number 1 starter Alcantara type of return, and that's why I asked Jim what I asked him. Like, if you see what is out there, and if he said everything's going the way that he says it goes, like, hey, this is my first guy, this is my second guy, what's going on with this guy? All of a sudden, the Nats are going to be like, hey, we just saw that. I know you called me 3 days ago asking, see what the package is for Alcantara? My guy's pitching every 5 days, lights out all-star status this year. How about we match what they gave, what the Marlins got for Alcantara?
Yep. 3.5 ERA on a bad team. Fantastic strikeout numbers, which stands out. You're looking for swing and miss starters for your playoff rotation and down the stretch. This fits that bill.
2.
Yeah, and for this, I put the Nats in a similar spot to the Twins in terms of the state of their franchise. The Twins are a much better team right now, but they are also in flux. They are for sale, and they're trying to keep their books tight too. So the Nats have decided they're not ready yet. They keep kicking the can, right? They're going to let this go for the next owner at some point. They're going to be sold in the next 2 years. I guarantee it, okay? So if you're the Nats, Mackenzie Gore's not going to be there for that next big run. James Wood is, and hopefully you extend him. And hopefully Dylan Cruz, guys like that work out. Mackenzie Gore's not going to be there for that. And if I'm them, I'm selling high on a career year for him because next year they're not competing. The year after, you have some lockout concerns. And then you're at his contract year. I'm trading him right now. If he's going to be the biggest prize for a starter at the deadline, go for it. I think teams love Mackenzie Gore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. We all agree. So let's talk to Kyle Glaser next about the state of the San Diego Padres, because we know AJ Preller is going to do something wild. All right, we're back. Let me see if I can rip through some questions. I saw somebody, I'm not even going to say the name, bring up, what about a reunion for Justin Verlander with the Astros?
No.
Hell no.
Not happening.
Hell no. The one thing I want to point out with the Astros is that if they do acquire a starter, it's going to be a top 3 starter in a rotation.
What did they say, though? What did they say Jim Crane likes? Stars.
Which, that's a big name, but JV's not pitching a playoff game for them anymore. And here's the thing.
He didn't pitch for him last year. Remember? He didn't make the playoff roster last year.
Correct. They have a lot of guys coming back, and most of them you're not going to trust because you want to make sure they're okay health-wise. But, Kratz, if you look at the names coming back for the Astros, I would pitch almost any of them in a playoff game over Verlander in his current form. He's at the end. This might be his last season. Spencer Arrighetti. Yeah. Hell yeah, I'm pitching someone like that, and he's coming back. Javier's coming back. Any of these guys, you're pitching them over Justin Verlander. So I do not see that reunion happening.
I mean, JV might pitch again next year. I mean, I think he really wants that 300 wins. So he might pitch again. But he's not – I don't think he's getting traded to a team that's going to use him in the playoffs. Let's put it that way. And I think the Astros are, exactly what Jim said, looking for somebody that they can pitch in the playoffs.
I mean, unless things drastically change, he ain't getting to 300. He's 37 more. He's going to have to pitch for
he's not
2
getting,
or 3 more years.
He's not getting
He's 1-8 this year.
There's no way. And my thing is, he's pitching for a fringe playoff team that's now probably going to sell. He's got a 4.5 ERA and a top 3 pitcher's park in the sport. His ERA plus is sub-league average. I don't think he's going to be able to find a job with a contending team. Then does he want to pitch for a crappy team to end his career? I think he might call it.
He said he wanted to pitch till he's 45.
I would love to see it.
Listen, everybody says that, but there's only one guy I know that could do it, and he got DFA'd, and he shouldn't have been doing it. I'm sorry. But, I mean –
we're chill, baby.
But, I mean, I'm sorry. But, like, Jamie Moyer could do it because it was a different time. And it was a different era. Like, Jamie Moyer could probably still pitch today if he was at, 47 or however old he was. But, I mean, Justin Verlander, it's velocity and it's stuff and it's spin. And when you get to 40, I made it to 40. I would have loved to play till I'm 45, but it wasn't happening.
Father time, baby. Father time. Kyle Glaser is dialed in on the San Diego Padres. He is the lead host of Friar Territory, joining us right now on Foul Territory. One thing while we talk to Kyle, please go to the Friar Territory YouTube channel and just press subscribe. That's all we want you to do. It is absolutely free to do that. While this conversation goes on, it would mean a lot. And now, Kyle, give us your best stuff on what the Padres are going to do over the next 24 hours. How you doing?
Doing all right, guys. Look, AJ Preller is always aggressive at the deadline. The Padres are having conversations with multiple teams about multiple different combinations. When you talk about AJ Preller and this Padres front office, nothing is off the table. Big, aggressive moves are their MO. That's what they like to do. There are some limiting factors this year, just in terms of they're right around the second luxury tax threshold. They don't have a lot of room to add payroll. And their farm system, it's not terrible, but it's not great. They have limited players they can deal from there too. So there are some limiting factors, but the Padres are always going to be exploring big, aggressive moves, and they're at least having those conversations again this year.
Okay, so let's dive into details. What do they need? And are there any particular names that you think that they're looking for?
Yeah, so the Padres really have multiple areas they need to upgrade in the lineup. They are bottom 2 in the majors by OPS at catcher, left field, and DH. 3 different lineup spots. They're bottom 2 in the majors. So acquiring bats is priority number 1. Look, we've seen some of the names out there. Jarren Duran, who realistically likely isn't getting traded, and the Padres don't have what it would take to acquire him. We've seen Stephen Kwan's name. Realistically, in order for the Padres to get any sort of player with multiple years of control, and somewhat of a salary commitment, they're going to have to move salary off their books. And that's where you're starting to see discussions about maybe trading Dylan Cease somewhere and then using that payroll savings to go get 2 or 3 bats. Because again, they're not one bat away. They need multiple bats, and that's tricky to do with the limited payroll room they currently have right now.
Is there a move? Is there a move that gets you that baseball trade for Cease or Robert Suarez? I get it. The Red Sox might not want Robert Suarez for Duran. Is there a move that you see out there that takes care of their need and also possibly could move Suarez or Cease?
Nothing that is an easy fit. I think realistically, if the Padres chose to clear some payroll space and move Dylan Cease, Robert Suarez, as you mentioned, has a player option after this year. He's likely going to opt out. So if they chose to move them, it would likely be for prospects. Then they create payroll savings and then use that savings and maybe some of the prospects they acquired to go acquire a big impact bat or two. Because in order to get the quality of hitters they need the payroll space, but they also need some more prospects to deal as well.
Give me the update on Michael King. It sounds like he could be back soon, and we all know how good he can be if he's feeling 100%. I mean, he can be a number 1 starter and a dude in the playoffs for them, and maybe that's why they're feeling a little bit better about potentially trading away Cease and having him at the top of the rotation.
Michael King, the last update was the Padres expect him to be back sometime in August. Now, I will caution the Padres are an organization that tends to say one thing on a timeline, and it almost always takes longer. So we'll see exactly when he returns. But realistically, part of the reason the Padres are comfortable trading Dylan Cease, he just hasn't been very good this year. You look at some of the peripherals, you like that, but his ERA is 4.79. There's been a lot of outings where he's laboring. We just saw him throw 102 pitches to get through 4 2/3 innings. There's been a lot of 95 pitches for 5 innings, 103 pitches to get through 6. And some of the people who look at the peripherals keep saying, oh, it's going to get better, it's just bad luck. It's actually getting worse. Dylan Cease has 1 quality start in the last 6 weeks, and over those 6 weeks, he has a 5.70 ERA. His FIP, for people who like underlying statistics, is in the mid to high 4s as well. He's giving up a lot of hard contact this year and a lot of hard contact in the air. His command has not been very good all year, and it's not getting better. So from the Padres' perspective, you look at it and say, despite the fact that Yu Darvish has been hurt most of the year, Joe Musgrove's out for the year after having TJ, Dylan Cease hasn't been very effective, and Michael King is hurt. Despite that, the Padres are top 5 in the majors in ERA, WHIP, and opponent's batting average. They feel like they have enough starting pitching to pick up the slack if they trade Dylan Cease, not just from Michael King, but from some of the other arms in the rotation that have really stepped up and quietly had really good years, like Ryan Bergert, Randy Vasquez, and a couple guys at the back.
Have there been conversations or questions asked of the Padres? Is Dylan Cease healthy? Because you see free agent seasons where players are like, no, I'm playing through this. And some of the peripherals just don't work out.
Yeah, he is healthy. The issue has been command. Again, his velocity is fine. He actually leads the majors in strikeouts per 9. I think a lot of people are missing that. And his command issues, they're not manifesting in walks. He's not walking a lot of batters. What's happening is he's getting into a lot of deep counts. He's falling behind in counts a lot. And then he's also just missing over the plate a lot. Look, every pitcher is going to have a mistake pitch or 2 or 3 when you throw 100 pitches a game. Dylan Cease's problem has been he's making 8 or 9 mistake pitches a game. He's allowing about a hit an inning over the last 6 weeks. Again, you look at all the baseball savant metrics, hard hit rate, barrel rate. He's in the bottom half of the league. So his stuff is good enough to miss bats when he's hitting his spots. But there's been too many times over the course of games he's not hitting his spots. And again, it has been 1 or 2 mistakes a game. It's been 8 or 9, and he's giving up a lot of hard contact.
So as someone who loves Dylan Cease, it hurts me to say he's not having a good year because I wanted him to win the Cy Young this year because I love Dylan Cease. So, but more importantly to me is we keep hearing Suarez. Is he the only guy in the bullpen they're willing to move, or what about a Matsui or anybody else out in that bullpen, a Morihone, or anybody they would be willing to talk about, or is it just Suarez or bust? And why? I don't even understand why they would trade Suarez. It's not like he's super expensive, and he's been really effective for them.
The Padres bullpen is absolutely their strength. And if they don't have to trade from it, they certainly don't want to. But when you talk about, again, the Padres having all the needs they do offensively and the lack of payroll space, they're going to look at all potential options. And the argument for trading Suarez is he's likely going to opt out at the end of the year. And the Padres can withstand his loss better than they could withstand a loss some other parts of their team. You have Jason Adam, you have Adrian Morejon, you have Jeremiah Estrada. That would be a pretty good 7, 8, 9. So again, it's just going to come down to the right package, the right player. Talk about other guys they could trade. Yuki Matsui, they would love to shed that salary, but his ERA has been the high 4s, low 5s. He just has not been very effective. I can't see many teams taking him on with $20 million left on his contract over multiple years. Wandy Peralta is a fine lefty, but he has 2 player options after this year that you really don't want him to pick up if you're an acquiring team. So it's a little bit tricky. Morejon, Estrada, Adam, they're all cheaper, but because they're cheaper is why the Padres would want to keep them. We'll see what happens, but if they're going to trade someone, considering the need to move money, Suarez is the most logical candidate.
Okay, let's actually talk about the team now. They're playing well. They're playing really well right now. They're swinging the bat. Bogarts is kind of turned a corner a little bit. What's changed? What's changed for these Padres?
Their best hitters are all actually hitting at the same time, which is something they have not had most of the season. Xander Bogaerts was one of the worst hitters in baseball for the first 2.5 months. He was bottom 10 among all qualified hitters in OPS. Over the last month and a half, he's hitting well over 300 with an OPS over 930. Fernando Tatis Jr. over his last 20 games, he's hitting over 300 with an OPS in the 940s. Jackson Merrill was slumping. He had a 2-home run game against the Phillies. He's on a 9-game hitting streak. Manny Machado and Luis Arias have been pretty consistent all year. So now that the Padres are getting all of their key hitters swinging the bat at the same time, we're seeing them reach levels of offense they haven't for a while. The Padres have scored 7+ runs in half of their games since the All-Star break. They didn't score 7 runs in a game for a full month before that. So the key guys hitting is a big reason why. At the same time, guys are going to have ups and downs. They're going to have highs and lows, as we've seen from all these guys this year. So the Padres can't just count on all these guys being hot at the exact same time for 2 months straight, really 3 months straight. They need to get some other hitters to supplement to be able to pick up the slack when one of those guys gets hurt or goes through a slump, as they inevitably will, because we're talking about baseball. It happens.
Baseball's hard, Kyle. Just remember that hitting is really hard to do. So it does go like this, okay? And the best ones keep the lows high and the highs higher. All right, but what about the starting pitcher for tonight? Yu Darvish, 0-3 with over a 9 ERA, a lot of high whip, hasn't been able to go deep, hasn't been able to miss a lot of bats. He's over 40 years old now. Like, what are we looking at here with Yu Darvish? I know he's signed, right, for a couple more years too.
Yeah, the Padres gave him an extension. He signed through age 42. Yu Darvish is still, in a lot of ways, building up from his elbow inflammation that kept him out for most of the season. You have to remember, he only made 1 rehab start, came out of that with some elbow tightness, and after that was just throwing simulated games, was throwing some sides, some bullpen sessions. He didn't really have much of a buildup in terms of 2 or 3 rehab starts to get used to the adrenaline, the feel of pitching an actual game. That's what these last 3 starts have been. They've almost been part of his rehab process. The Padres' hope is now, as we move into start 4, 5, 6, we start to see some improvements and get back to the old Yu Darvish. They're not too worried about his last 3 starts just because the way his rehab went. But if this continues, yeah, it's going to be a concern.
Come back if he had elbow tightness. Like, I don't know. I mean, you can't afford, if you're the Padres, you can't afford to give away games. No?
And again,
am I wrong?
They gave him a little bit of time off after that elbow tightness, and they decided the best rehab continuation from that elbow tightness was to just keep him throwing simulated games and off to the side. So whether that was wise or not is obviously up for debate, but that was the decision they made.
He hadn't pitched for most of the season.
I know but you would think you need the rehab to build up. I mean, this isn't Ohtani where you get an extra roster spot to build a guy up in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
This is like games the Padres need. Padres are in the thick of it. That's why, I don't know. That's why it's surprising to hear. And listen, I played with you. I've known you for a long time. So, I mean, if anyone could do it, it would be Yu Darvish. But, man, the Padres, these are important games for the Padres.
No question about it. And look, the Padres, part of the reason they're in position to be aggressive buyers at the deadline is they have been playing well. They had a losing record in June, their first losing month. July got off to an uneven start, but they've won 4 straight, taking the last 2 against the Cardinals in St. Louis, which is always tough, taking the first 2 of the series against the Mets. They won a series against the Phillies. The Padres are 59-49. They've actually created some breathing room between them and the rest of the wild card field. They're 3 games up on the Reds, who are the first team out. The Padres are the last team in right now. There was a point earlier this month the Padres had fallen out of playoff position, and their record was creeping closer and closer to 500. To their credit, in large part because of how good the offense has been recently, and again, the bullpen being lights out, The Padres are playing really well, and that is what has put them in position to be aggressive and make some of these potentially big, aggressive type of moves. 3 weeks ago, it wasn't clear they were going to be in position to do this, and to the team's credit, they have put themselves in position.
Yeah, and if there's 2 or 3 more of these starts for Darvish, he'll probably go back on the IL.
Yeah, I know. But
they're trying to see if he can work through it.
2 or 3 are, if it comes down to it, which at one point it will look like it was, that could be the difference between getting it and not getting it. But, they have created some distance because some other teams have kind of fallen apart.
Gosh, the Giants. Yeah.
The Giants are one of them.
Yeah, the Giants really fell apart. Let's finish with that, Kyle. The NL West was looked at this super division for the first couple months of the year. What happened?
The Giants and Diamondbacks fell off. The Diamondbacks didn't get off to a great start, but there was a point where they were starting to pick it up. You saw this explosive offense, but the pitching combination didn't stay healthy or effective enough, so they obviously have fallen off. Now they're clear sellers. And look, the Giants offense has been one of the worst in baseball for the better part of 3 months now. It started on May 15th and hasn't really gotten better. They were still able to scratch out some games. They acquired Rafael Devers. You say, hey, they're in position to take off. Instead, they have the worst record in baseball since June 15th when they acquired Devers. And Devers has not been great, but it's not like it's been his fault. The entire offense has just not been producing. A lot of guys are not performing to the levels they should. And this has kind of been a problem for the Giants year in and year out, finding the right offensive mix. And once again, it just isn't happening. And to the Padres' credit, they have taken advantage. Their offense was almost as bad as the Giants for the same stretch, but they did a better job staying afloat. And then once their guys started finding their rhythm again, they've been able to create some separation.
Kyle, great stuff. I'm sure we'll be chatting, and we'll be hearing from you on Friar Territory when AJ Preller does his thing, and we know he will, right?
Absolutely. We'll have a full wrap-up show. We've got Heath Bell, we've got Mike Cameron, we've got all sorts of guests, so we will have you covered top to bottom for whatever the Padres do.
Thank you, Kyle. We'll talk to you soon.
And subscribe to Friar Territory, too.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, absolutely. There it is. There's Kyle and Heath. They'll be breaking down trades for you, so head over to Friar Territory. They're looking for their 1,000 subs. They're in the mid-8s, so give them a little love right now. Kyle's one of the best and nicest in the biz. Coming up next, for the people, questions from you and bold predictions from you, as in the people watching right now. BETMGM Locks. Quick side note, by the way, just coming off our combo about the Giants. Willie Adames has actually rebounded. He's going to put up the same numbers.
Is breaking right now.
Yeah. So Posey made ads. It's just, let's remember, he was given a mess. Willie Adames has similar numbers to last year. Park adjusted. He's going from the Brewers to the Giants, but similar numbers to last year. Okay. Just wanted to side note that before it got too distant. Locks from yesterday, 2 out of 3 hit. We'll call that a win. And it was minus money bets for me and Kratz. Plus money bet. AJ going for it a little bit.
Neither one of those hit. Craig didn't pitch very well, and Glasnow did not pitch very well.
We don't like sweaty bets. If you're going to lose
I lost early.
There you go. All right, there's money bags. We've got work to do. AJ, would you like to kick things off for us today?
Sure, I'm just going simple money lines. I'm going Giants to win, beat the Pirates. Logan Webb's pitching, my guy. Logan, need you. Love you. And then I'm going the Rangers are going to beat the Angels. Why? Because the Rangers can't get swept by the Angels, can they? They can't lose 3 games in a row the way they've been playing to the Angels. They got Big Game Nate pitching. Big Game Nate's pitching tonight. That's my hope.
I'm going to piggyback off that because that's the game that I'm picking. And right now, the Rangers, again, are showing us how inconsistent they are and why it's tough for them to push chips in and be big buyers. I think they'll be kind of
They're not going to get swept by
mid-range.
the Angels, are they?
Dude, Jose Soriano's pitching. That's not
Big Game Nate. Big Game Nate, baby.
This is a big game. Yeah, and Nate's got a sick ERA this season. I think it's 1.5. Soriano, though, has been really good, too. So I'm actually picking an alt under for that game. 130 to win a hundo. Under 8.5 runs for Big Game Nate to do his thing and for Soriano to try and match him.
Okay,
so I don't know who's going to win, but yeah. All right. Ideally, that's what happens here. Kratz. Yeah, go ahead, Kratz. Give us yours. Nope, we don't hear you. But you look great. Wait, now.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now?
We got
the Mets-Padres game. I'm taking the Mets. It's even money, but I added the over because Yu is pitching and Clay Holmes is pitching. I think both offenses are going to be able to score 9 runs. So I'm taking the over and the Mets money line coming out at plus 230.
Boom. There you go. Plus 230 for Kratz. We'll get Jonathan Papelbon's pick during our next break. Coming up next, we'll hear from the people. For the people, we'll start with bold
By the way,
predictions.
speaking of people, I just keep scanning the Twitter.
Seeing things.
But nothing is, anyways.
There's things. I'll get to
But
a couple
it's all
of those things.
Speculation.
Yeah. Let's get to Instagram DMs from our fans. We asked for bold predictions. Let's just line them up one by one. You show us, we'll react to it. And remember, this came out about a day and a half ago, so your bold prediction might turn into something that's kind of obvious pretty quickly. But let's start with Jessica. Dustin May for Cedric Mullins. And actually, the latest tweet I have right now is from Joel Sherman, who's higher on Cedric Mullins.
No chance that happens.
No chance of what?
Dustin May straight up for Cedric Mullins. No chance. No chance. No chance. There's no chance. No chance.
It's a bold prediction.
Yeah, it's a bold, not a very smart prediction because there's no chance. Like, give me something that has a chance. Those two straight up, no chance.
Orioles need pitching.
Okay, and the Dodgers
Okay.
need what? Dodgers need Cedric Mullins for what?
They might acquire an outfielder. They're interested in Stephen Kwan.
Oh, Stephen Kwan versus Cedric Mullins
Way
is a different animal.
Okay. Just trying to come
I
up
love
with
when
When
something
Scott
bold.
Roll plays wrong.
Well, my thing is, I do think that, and yes, I agree. That's not the fit for the Mets. I mean, for the Dodgers, I think Mullins is the fit for the Mets. I think they've been on him for a while. That's my little sources. And when some of the Mets fans were biting back at me about his year, I think he's better than you think. Joel Sherman agrees. Next one. This is from Will. Giants have a fire sale. Well, Will, the Giants are selling now. I don't know about a fire sale, but they might shed a Camilo
Shed a
Doval.
guy or two.
Yeah, maybe another reliever. I don't think they're going to do
No.
a ton. This is a weird spot
Fire
for
sales.
Buster Posey.
Fire sales are not for teams that just added a franchise bat in Rafael Devers. Not
No,
That's
if they
not
can make
how
some
I see
major
a fire
league
sale.
trades, if they can make some major league trades, like major leaguer for close to major league ready or a major leaguer, I think they would do that. But no, fire sale, not happening. Not with Buster Posey there, not this year.
Yeah.
Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah, he would look nice in that. Him and Logan Webb, 1-2. Ooh, Robbie Ray.
Oh,
Sign me up. That would not be a fire
Birdsong?
sale. That would be
No.
a fire buy. Here's Diego.
Hmm.
Cedric Mullins, Sandy Alcantara, and Griffin Jacks landing on the Padres.
how?
Yeah.
And Mullins would play left field? Mullins would play left field for him?
No.
But the better question is the Padres don't have that kind of prospects. Andrew Vaughn got another.
I was
hit,
going to
by the way.
say.
Yeah. Mullins, I don't see to the Padres. He's going to move, but not to the Padres. I don't see Sandy going to the Padres. The Padres have to be careful about money, and they're going to potentially move a starter and backfill it, but I don't think the backfill is Sandy.
Yeah. No.
Griffin Jacks,
That's a lot
maybe.
of money.
If
That's a
the
lot of money
Padres
to do.
trade Robert Suarez, I could see them
Yes.
picking up someone like Griffin Jacks.
Yes.
So on the back end of that, I could see that. Last one from the bold prediction side, then we'll get to some questions. Joey said Jason Dominguez and Oswald Peraza for Luis Severino and Mason Miller.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough. And the A's need pitching. They don't need hitting. They need pitching.
Jason with 2 S's. I only say that because everyone's always all over me whenever I say
I'm
something
not saying
wrong.
that. I have a Jason Dominguez signed card if anybody wants to buy it from me.
His stock's a little down. I mean, he's good, but
No, but I'll still sell
he's
the
not a
card.
potential superstar. And I
He
think
was at one time. They were talking about him being like the next coming of Mickey Mantle.
yeah, he's not.
Mickey Mantle.
Well, they said that about Anthony Volpe too. They're role players.
Okay.
But I could see the Yankees. Well, could you see the Yankees trying for Severino based on no, right? Yeah. I could see the Mets going for Severino. And then Mason Miller, sure. I'm sure the Yankees would love to have him.
Severino and Mason Miller in the same package. You're going to have to get a lot back.
Would you do Spencer Jones for Mason Miller straight up for both sides?
They don't need another hitter.
No.
You just said it.
Who doesn't need another hitter?
The A's.
Oh, you want pitching in there.
And by the way, they have a closer, Devin Williams.
Okay. Well, I don't think they would flinch at adding Miller, but also...
Do you think they give up Spencer Jones for Mason Miller?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That would happen.
That's why I brought it up, just for fun. I don't think so. I don't think they need to find a guy who's under 4 years of team control either.
No.
They are going to lose some relievers. Devin Williams is free agent coming up. I think Luke Weaver's a free agent coming up.
And they'll get some new ones.
And they'll get some
What
new
did Jim Bowden say?
You can find those relievers.
Find them
trees.
relievers anywhere. I traded this guy for this guy and this guy for this guy. He's like, I can find them relievers.
That is true. And there are some teams that do a much better job of developing relievers. The Yankees are on that list.
Brewers, Yankees.
For the mistakes they make, right? Because they're not perfect. They definitely, in my mind, have made some clunky rosters with fundamental issues the last couple of years, but they did make it to the World Series, so let's not fault them too much. They excel at creating bullpen gems. They're really good at that.
True.
Luke Weaver turning into what he did, very impressive.
Made some adjustments.
Yeah, but they've done that with quite a few guys.
True.
So I'll give them that. Let's get back to some questions. Stand by.
No more boldness. What's AJ's bold move?
Luis Roberts going to stay. What's my bold move? What's my bold move? Trade deadlines in 28 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's been boring as hell so far. That's my bold prediction.
That's true.
That's a bold
There's
opinion.
too many. Yeah, there's too many levers though that are in the game right now that make it more difficult to make trades. The qualifying offer was mentioned when I talked to Ken. The qualifying offer is trash.
Yes.
It's trash. Well, it's tied to that because what happens is teams say, why am I going to make this deal if I can get a first round pick for this player? It's a late first round pick. It's after the first round if that player goes to free agency. But it's also more
slot money.
And it's more slot money. So even if it's because there's different levers. If it's a $50 million plus contract, then you get after the first round. I think it's after the second round if you get a player under that amount for certain teams.
It's actually holding down value. The Players Association thought it wouldn't, but it actually has held down some guy's value, and like Nick Pivetta comes to mind.
Right? Oh, it's been a huge value buster. And for me, I'm not even as concerned about that because you still get the deals done, but when you have certain rules in place that hurt trades, you need to rethink what you're doing as a league. I'm not going to get into that whole discussion again, but here we've got some ideas from fans right now that are playing off the bold thing. Josh said Ryan O'Hearn to Detroit going to happen.
Good.
It could happen.
Good for Ryan.
It could happen.
Good for Ryan.
I've got B Life saying Ke'Bryan Hayes to the Reds. I think the Reds need more offense. Yeah, I don't think that's the fit. Yeah. I think they're going pretty hard after Gino Suarez right now. Well, I mean, look at the difference between those two players. You want elite D and a bat that has frankly been a mess the last couple of years. There's Hayes. If you want meh D, but a bat that could
hit you 20 homers on the stretch.
Yeah, hit you 20 homers the next 2.5 months. Then that's
my bold
Gino
move
Suarez.
is Eugenio Suarez.
Brian Hayes actually went to the Reds.
Oh, he got traded to the Reds?
Yeah, that's what Paston's reporting.
Oh, well then I'm an idiot. But wait,
well, we already knew that, Scott. My bold prediction is Scott's an idiot.
I don't like that move.
Okay.
Do you?
It has 5 years of club control.
5?
I don't know. It's in a division. I don't know. We got to see what they gave up. Bet you they didn't give up a whole lot because the Pirates are probably ready to move on.
Yeah, he's signed through 2029.
Because he's been kind of not very good since he signed that extension. He can't really hit very good.
But that means they're out on Gino?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't hit.
What a Pirates move. What a Pirates move. Just dump some salary.
And that's probably what it is.
I don't get that one.
For who?
I don't know. I can't get it to come
Reds.
up. I'm trying.
No, you're saying you don't get it for the Reds, right?
Yeah, I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't.
Well,
Cincinnati
let's do
Reds
some
are
homework.
acquiring Brian Hayes in a trade. Hayes is among the best defensive players and has 5 years of club control.
And has a 569 OPS with a 59 OPS plus. For a Reds team that can use a bat. They're going to play the run prevention game. All right, let's do some homework on it, and then we're going to talk about it coming up. We'll hit it on the FT post show.
We asked who the biggest name, surprising name. Nobody had Brian Hayes getting traded. Did
Oh,
they?
I did.
Oh,
yeah,
you did?
we talked about
Yeah, we
Hayes.
talked
Yeah,
about it.
for sure.
We just didn't think it would happen.
The Pirates are done with him, and they're shedding money. The shocker for me is where he went. We'll talk about it. We'll give it its full 5-10 minutes. But let's take a break so we can do some homework on it.
What's up, FT Nation? What's up, my people at the desk? All my beautiful people at FT. What's happening? It's your boy Parlay Pap coming to you with a two-legger today on this hump day. Yeah, anytime Rockies are playing, you betting against them, you got a good chance. So we're going to take the Guardians today. And my next matchup, and my next leg, is going to be B-Woo pitching tonight for the Mariners against the Sacramento Athletics. And the Sacramento Athletics ain't winning tonight. They won last night, they ain't winning tonight. So that's a lot. And hopefully the Guardians come through today for us, because the other one's a lot, folks. Peace.
Good job, Pap. There's your picks. And no matter where the action is, BetMGM's going to supercharge the odds on your next sports bet. If you've got yourself a little odds boost token, you can boost your potential payout from a winning bet. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We're going to give this Brian Hayes trade the full FT treatment. We'll do that post-show because we're running out of time. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, stick around. We'll do a few extra minutes before we get out of here because it also impacts the Gino Suarez trade market. So we'll get to that. But Purple Hazy giving us a little super chat says O'Hearn to Astros or Red Sox. Duran, Yohan, or Willie Castro, or maybe Willie Castro to the Dodgers. Yeah, I could see O'Hearn going to either of those teams. I think O'Hearn might be the backup option for Boston if a team like the Rays don't sell Yandy Diaz. I have a hard time seeing the Rays moving Diaz in general. I feel like he's taken a couple team-friendly deals to stay, and he wants to be there. I don't think they're going to move him, but what do I know? And then for the Dodgers, sure, they would love both of those players, Duran and Castro. They love that. I think a super utility type, throw them all over, and then Duran for anyone. So I could see that. All right. Coming up next, we'll do slap hands, and then we will break down the Brian Hayes trade. It looks like the prospect return just came in too. All right, people, here's the deal. We have Trevor May's show popping up today to give you more trade deadline coverage. We are going to be on 5 hours tomorrow, but here's Trevor May first. So you'll see him a little bit later today for MAYDAY, moving to Wednesday. Actually, word on the street is it might move to Wednesday long-term right after FT. We'll see. But check out Trevor today talking about trade deadline coverage. So you'll get more from Trevor on the FT YouTube channel and on Mayday's channel as well. A reminder to everyone that we will do 5 hours of trade deadline coverage tomorrow. 1 o'clock Eastern up till 6 o'clock Eastern. If you're watching on TV, we'll go 1 to 3. And Kratz, Hatz, give us the goods. We'll get ready for a little post-show action to talk Ke'Bryan Hayes in a moment.
Team that I think they need to trade one of their starters. The A's. Jeffrey Springs. Maybe Sevy. Maybe they'll have to go spend more money again next year. I know they only got Sevy, but he fell last night twice on 2 pitches, so I got to see Sevy get out of Sacramento. Just saying.
That's a good call. We didn't get to that. Yeah. Sevy fell twice, I think.
He loves it there. He loves Sacramento.
Oh, my gosh. He did sign up for it. We went over that.
Too. He didn't pitch there. He signed up for the money. He didn't pitch there. He didn't go, ooh, how does this mound feel? I'm not even in my throwing program yet. Just saying.
I'm just saying respectfully, I like Sevy, but I don't feel bad for Sevy. And I do think he's going to get dealt. I do. So good for him. Just to give some quick love to the Brewers and Cubs going on right now. Man, the Brewers picking up Quinn Priester and Andrew Vaughn has worked out quite well. Andrew Vaughn, grand slam yesterday, 6 RBI game. I think since they picked him up, he and Schwarber have the most RBIs in baseball. That worked out.
Worked out nicely.
But that's why the Brewers are like, do we need Geno Suarez or do we just find diamond in the rough Andrew Vaughn types?
You can't just keep doing that,
yes.
though. I'm sorry.
Yes.
The answer is
both.
The
answer is yes.
The answer is you need stars.
Right. The Brewers are in a 6-game homestand. They have 5 sellouts out of those 6 for the first time since 2011. They're 25-8 in their last 33 games since beating the Cubs 8-7 a little over a month ago. They were 6.5 back, and now they're 2 games up in first place heading into this one today, which they're playing right now.
There's no way Matt Arnold sits there and goes, you know what? If we get Geno Suarez, it totally ruins what we've been doing. It totally ruins the fact that we're finding value other places. Go get him. What's the worst that can happen? He adds only 10 home runs in 2 months? No, like, get him.
What's the worst that could happen? He does really great.
Exactly.
Sure.
And, you know, all the tests came back
parade.
okay for him. Yeah, they put him back in the lineup today, DHing. Trade deadline coverage, baby. We'll be all over it. And stick around if you're watching us online. It's FT breaking news. This one is a shocker. Ke'Bryan Hayes moving from the Pittsburgh Pirates to the Cincinnati Reds. I'll read this breaking news tweet from Jeff Passan, who talks about how he's among the best defensive players in baseball and has 5 years of control beyond this season. I'm going to verbally mention, first of all, the return, which is shortstop prospect Sammy Stafora, who looks like he's like a top 10-ish prospect or right around that range. And Taylor Rogers from the Reds. I think some of that has to do with money going back on the Pittsburgh side. Yeah. So there's your return. And Mike Petriello said, the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati trade is so fascinating and sort of hard to wrap your head around. Ke'Bryan Hayes, elite top-end defender, so good. But Cincinnati third baseman has a 68 weighted runs created plus, third weakest. And he's hit worse in each of the last 2 years. It's not a ballpark profile thing. Said, I love a fun, unexpected trade. So that's been a problem spot for them. Although, let me point out, Welby Marte has been on a heater lately. Did they just not like his defense? I mean, he's raking. I mean, you know, I know he missed some time, so he's got 146 plate appearances this year, 829 OPS.
This is confusing to me.
I'm lost. Like, do you want
people are mentioning it? This is confusing today.
Do you want Hayes starting over Marte at third?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Maybe move Hayes somewhere else. Can they move him somewhere else though? But is he? I mean, you have Elliott short. Do you move Marte somewhere else?
Yeah. So like, let's go through what their lineup looks like right now on Fangraphs against right-handed pitching. Gavin Lux, left fielder, leading off. Matt McClain, 2. second
Lux
base.
is your second baseman, right?
Spencer
Well, Lux
Steer,
they have in left field
Ellie,
here.
left
Then
field.
McLean at second. Elliott short hitting third. Austin Hayes they have in here as DH, which can rotate around. Right field, Jake Fraley. First base, Spencer Steer. Tyler Stevenson at catcher. They've got Benson here at center field. And then Marte
Where's
over
McLean?
at third. McLean second base, batting
Oh.
second. But
Okay.
Marte at third base, raking right now. And, I mean, I'm going to go off eye test. He's looked okay there. And defensive metrics, -2, outs above average.
Benjamin
and
said
maybe
they've
they
been
don't love
playing him in the outfield recently.
Marte. So they moved Marte to the outfield and they improved the third base defense. Hey, I love a great glove at third, but is he going to hit enough? Will the Reds fix him? And
I don't know.
And did they just tell us, okay, we tried for Geno Suarez, couldn't get him, so we're going with the run prevention over the power bat?
Maybe they didn't have enough to get Suarez.
They have enough. They probably just didn't offer enough, or they lost out the bid
They
to
got
someone
5 more
else.
years of Cabrera. Clearly, the
Where's
Pirates
the
didn't
Reds
think he was
value
worth
at? Where's the Reds value at? On their team. Pitching.
Pitching, yeah.
You've seen teams say, and historically, Cincinnati is a joke. Maybe the fact that the ball's not traveling as much, but the park, like that was historically offensive park. Now you look down their pitching, their starters, Emilio Pagan closing. You have Cintilla, like just throwing just fuel out of their pen. Maybe they're doubling down and saying, you know what, we're going to pick it. Jose Trevino, I think, is actually catching more than Tyler Stevenson. They extended him. Okay, they're pretty much split skis. But you have maybe they're just doubling down on that defense. It's an interesting move. Maybe the Phillies offered more for Geno Suarez.
Cintian, by the way, is that who you were talking about for pitching?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. I was mixing the closer for the Cubs and the guy for the Reds too.
So one Pirates fan chiming in the chat, Matt C, said, Pittsburgh Pirate fan here. If Cincinnati gets Hayes to elevate, he'll be the best third baseman in baseball. Not hyperbole. He just refused to change his swing here. Remember, there's a deep history of contention with Key Brian Hayes and his swing. See if I can pull up this story quick enough to be able to comment on it accurately. But okay, in 2023, he was secretly working late in the season at a private hitting facility in Pittsburgh with John Nunnally, former big leaguer, and he was the AA hitting coach at the time. Hayes was frustrated and said, it's my career. I got to do what's best for me. And then he actually did hit well to finish the season. That was the only time you really saw some pop from him. They fired Nunnally. Obviously, they were secretly doing this. And now I think he still works with him privately. Now, in fairness, I mean, he hasn't hit since then. The last 2 years have been a disaster. So I don't think any of us know if he's going to be able to turn his bat around. But is that the move that helps the Reds reach the postseason this year?
Maybe. Whew. I don't know if it's the bat, but maybe he makes some plays defensively.
He's making money, too. It's not like you're not spending any money on him. I know Rodgers gets flipped, so that probably helps to offset some things. But Hayes signed an 8-year, $70 million extension in 2022 that goes through 2029. He's getting paid. I mean, contract, and we'll find out more about the money breakdown here, but the contract for Hayes, he's getting $7 million this year, $7 million next year, $7 million in 27, $8 million in 28, $8 million in 29. And there's a club option for $12 million in 2030.
Yeah. He's getting paid a lot to not hit. He's got a great agent.
I did not see that one coming.
I would say that's the value. What's one WAR? What's one WAR worth in free agency? $7 million. He's putting that up in defense alone. So good for them.
Yeah, but okay. Right. So but you're just banking on him being, close to a league average bat, right? which he's done once in his career. That was in 2023 when he finished strong. He was a 103 OPS plus. The other seasons around that, full seasons or full-ish, well, there hasn't really been, he hasn't really played anything close to a full season. The fullest was 2022, 136 games played, and he was at a 88, 86 OPS plus the year before that. And then the last 2 seasons, 61 and 59. And that's not a major league hitter. Like if you get one more year of that, you have a hard time finding a spot. I don't care how good your glove is. You definitely have a hard time finding a spot
they
as
must see
a
something
starter.
they can change. That's the only thing I can say. The Rays
Have to.
The Reds see something that they can change.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone keeps saying, oh, in the chat, oh, well, it's because he wouldn't elevate the ball. Well, maybe the Reds have a way to get him to do it. I don't know. Maybe he's a change of scenery guy. I don't know. Hopefully it works out for both teams.
It's an expensive lottery ticket, though, because let's say this is the real Ke'Bryan Hayes bat. That's not a big league bat. You're on the hook for a lot of money unless there's a ton of money being eaten up on the Pittsburgh Pirates side of this trade. For the Reds are a small market team. $7 million is not nothing. That's not a backup player for them. They don't pay backup players $7 million. So Kratz, one win war. That's what you get. Yeah, but you need the guy to hit a little bit. I mean, he's around 1 this year. He was close to 1 last year in WAR. And the 2 seasons before that, obviously, was much higher because he was closer to league average with his bat. So that's where you're more of a 4-win player. So that's what they're banking on. If you're a 4-win player and you cost $7 million, oof, great.
And maybe he's more valuable to a team that pitches, a team that has to put the ball on the ground, a team that can't rely on the ball in the air. And third base is a valuable position. This is the same organization that we were like, wow, this Reds team, they're primed to go. What's this free agent they're going to get? G-Mark Candelario. They're still paying him right now. It didn't seem like it was a good fit. Maybe this is the Reds being like, no, we see this is a good fit. We're going to definitely get it. G-Mark Candelario is being paid by the Reds in Scranton, playing in AAA for the Yankees.
There's a show that absolutely torched that deal. You're watching it right now.
Yeah.
We all collectively torched that deal. We disagree a lot, but we all torched that deal, right? That was a massive fail. It did not make sense. It did not make sense at the time. 3 years, $45 million. And I don't think any other team was offering close to that. And good for the player. He got his cash, but he's not worth that. And for the Reds to take on that risk, it did not make a lot of sense. This is a small market team. You can't miss on risks like that. So that's my point here. This is a significant risk for them.
Mm-hmm. It is. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm just shocked. I'm shocked. Aren't you shocked?
I said that. I can't believe that this happened.
Now,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I truly believe that a team like the Yankees were going to be able to swallow his lack of offense because of the defense. I thought a team like the Blue Jays, who it's like, man, they need to slug more. They were a team that'd be like, who cares? We knew Andres Gimenez wasn't going to hit that great. We want that defense. We swallowed a lot of that contract. Some teams double, triple, quadruple down on defense. Maybe the Reds are doing that. Maybe Noelvi Marte's, recent surge is going to play him in left field. Maybe don't feel like left field in the small park, Great American Small Park in Cincinnati really needs like a Gold Glove left fielder, but they think they need Gold Glove third baseman with Lodolo running those heaters in on righties. We need guys to make those plays. Abbott, not Abbott. Abbott's out. Singer,
the Kratz
dropping some.
You got to hit. Like this team. Listen, this team's not good enough to have a player like that. Like you mentioned. Like the
Yankees aren't picking this guy up. The Yankees aren't taking this guy.
No, they made a decision. They said
no.
They're
not taking. The Yankees, no chance.
Well, no, he was saying before the McMahon.
Even before, after next year, they're not taking Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Yeah, McMahon's a much better hitter than Ke'Bryan Hayes.
The Yankees want kids that can hit, man. Pirates won this trade. I don't know what the Reds are doing.
Pirates won this trade. Also, Petriello, who's a StatCast guy, because there's a lot of people like, oh, he's going to change his swing, whatever. And he's like, back injuries make me wonder if changing his path like that is possible. It's a flat swing. We'll see. I mean, sometimes guys can do it, and sometimes they don't.
Sometimes guys don't want to do it.
Right. Sometimes they don't want to do it, or sometimes it just doesn't work for them. Here's Noah Hiles, who's super dialed on the Pirates. He's an everyday guy covering them. He said, source confirms the deal. I'm told the Reds will take on all of the contract. The Taylor Rogers money this season makes the deal financially a wash. This season, Jared Triolo is going to take over at third base for now for the Pirates. But they just dumped the whole contract after this year.
Pirates dump.
The Reds, I don't know what the Reds are doing. The Pirates won this trade.
I think they gave him a
got rid of
lifeline.
One of their big contracts.
I thought they were
Bob
gonna have to
Nutting
eat.
is doing cartwheels down the hallway right now.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Cherington's probably just saved his job.
He might
Just
have.
one trade. Serious.
You want to
Saved them a lot of money.
You want a
Bob
contract?
Nutting is doing cartwheels down that thing and they have in the outfield out there, the circle thing.
The loop,
He
All
said-
the way down.
all the way down.
He told Ben Cherington, you want a contract? You need to figure out how to find $7 million for the next 5 years, and I'll end up paying you out of that money. And Ben Cherington's like, cha-ching. I'm going to text Ben right now.
Here's the deal. Ben Cherington, I think, is in his 6th season running the team. The 5-year plan has failed so far. Failed. And they did give out some extensions. Some of them have not worked, like this one. So while I'm going to be very critical of where the Pirates are at as an organization, I am going to give them credit on this one. This is not a team that can afford to have a player like that, who also needed a change of scenery very badly. But I'm with AJ here. Huge win for them to dump a player like this. This was not helping them at all. The Pirates need offense badly. They've got some special starting pitchers led by Skeens. Jared Jones should be back next year. Bubba Chandler could be a top-end starter. They also have the top prospect in all of baseball right now in Connor Griffin, according to Baseball America. I mean, he'll take some time, but still, there are some promising parts of this team. Will they spend in free agency is always the question, but this one makes sense.
No.
Right. They probably won't, but this makes sense. Anyway, there's your breaking news. That probably is the most shocking trade you'll hear this week. There are going to be big names moved.
Not that he got traded, to where he got traded.
It's to where he got traded. The Reds taking on Key Brian Hayes. And hey, nice dude, great defender. I hope everyone's wrong and that he becomes a great bat again. But if not, Jeimer Candelario was a huge miss for the Reds. We'll see what happens. Trade deadline coverage coming at you on the FT Network. Catch Trevor May later. We'll be on a lot tomorrow. There's your live coverage. 1 to 6 Eastern on YouTube. Ken Rosenthal, Jim Bowden, all the big boys joining us throughout the day. See you then.
Hit subscribe.